いを告げる鐘が遠くなり響く戦う友よ今君は死も恐れず瓦礫の街を染めて沈む夕日はくれない愛する星の未来を守るためもう神の刃は人の愛祈りも込めて貫け立ち上がれ気高く前定めを受けた戦士よ明日の平和への礎となれ熱くなれ大きく裂け天に捧げし命よ弱き者の盾となれそして世界を導けきらめく星の海に浮かぶお前の面影人と会えない愛ゆえになど愛しい背中合わせの世界重ね会えない現実涙と共に捨て去れ何もかもさあ振り返らずに風になれ痛みを越えて駆け出せ立ち上がれ気高く前定めを受けた戦士よたとえ傷ついて力尽きても赤く燃え見事に散って星になった命よ時を超えその名前を胸に刻もう Just forever 立ち上がれ気高く前定めを受けた戦士よたとえ傷ついて力尽きても熱くなれ大きく裂け天に捧げし命よ明日の平和への礎となれ赤く燃え見事に散って星になった命よ時を超えその名前を胸に刻もう Just forever 「
Hello there, chat. Welcome to this post, or rather current, retard world. Because now it's very acceptable to use the R word again. Because a bunch of people on Twitter decided to be very obnoxious about it. And the target of their disdain doesn't give a fuck. So now we in RetardGate. And I hope someone makes RetardGate trend at one point. That would be amazing. But today's topic is not about that. Today, we're going to be talking about VTuber journalism, where they're about one guy that started to do it and is already setting it back by 100 years or so. But let me get some music up before we continue. All right, it should be good. It is morally correct to hate journalists. I am one. I've been one for 8 years, and I won't say I hate myself as a journalist. I don't even use that moniker for myself because the people using it for the last decade or so, or even more than that, have completely ruined this profession, ruined its reputation. And nowadays, if you just admit you're a journalist, you're pretty much equated to some kind of monkey that just types on the keyboard and looks for outrage to farm for clicks on terrible websites. Things like BuzzFeed. BuzzFeed is dead. Vice has been dead for like a month or so, or something like that. So every single one of these websites that dealt with sensationalist stories that basically farmed clicks via outrage, it died. Because you can only do so much with farming stupid people. Apparently, those stupid people will, at one point, those stupid people will leave, and ones that know that what you're doing will just, make sure your downfall is imminent. So that's it. My career as a journalist, my career as a writer has been pretty fun. I've done a lot. I've been one since 2015. Before that, I've held multiple different jobs. Even nowadays, I hold multiple different jobs, and all of them are online. All of them are remote. And if you do want to make some good money online, you usually have to have your hands in quite a few different pots. Otherwise, you're just kind of banking on luck that you will get good, that you'll get good monetary benefits from a singular source. But when you're online, that's never a sure thing. So you better not put your eggs into one basket. So a bit of background on that, without doxing myself too much. I've done pretty much everything a journalist would do in terms of putting out content. I've written news pieces. I've written investigation articles. I've conducted interviews. I've been in the field as well. The last time you could actually see me in the field, not really actually doing my job because that's on another account. I've been to EX on a business trip. I've been to Otakon on a business trip, and before that, there's been a lot of things that I put out. But yeah, I'm not gonna tell you the sources, but I did make it the fuck up, like the target of our current stream. So you do have to understand that there is some experience here, and I'm not completely talking out of my ass, unlike the person that we're gonna be talking about to some extent. But yeah, let me catch up to chat for a bit, and then I'll ask you guys a question I would like answered. What do you guys think are the most important qualities of a journalist? Like, name a few, and I'll tell you if you, well, not necessarily got it right, but I'll tell you how important they are, at least to me, as someone in this profession. What do you guys think are the best qualities a journalist should have? That's suicide. Suicide is a quality that all journalists should have eventually. Yeah. Integrity, curiosity, consistency, integrity. Those are good things. Those are unbiased. I see here. Articulate. A lot of journalists aren't very articulate. They aren't very eloquent. They write like monkeys. But at least today's topic target, today's journalist is at least eloquent, so I'll give him that when it comes to his writing. Lack of bias agenda. That's a good thing. But okay, so for me, what are the most important qualities of a journalist to me? To me, a journalist has to be truthful. To me, a journalist has to be accurate in the way they report things. And to me, a journalist also has to be have objective quality in their reporting. So for me, it's important that you report on things in a truthful manner while staying objective about the topic of your inquiries, about the topic of your work. And of course, you also need to be objective on this part. You shouldn't be taking sides when you're reporting on that sort of thing. Of course, there are all kinds of journalists nowadays. There are tabloid journalists. There's advocacy journalists, which we popularly call propagandists. Those are usually gonna be those that try to push some agendas. And most of the journalists that you see nowadays in popular media are advocacy journalists. So they're going to be pushing one specific side while completely ignoring the other, or just straight out lying. So all of these things just go out of the window. They aren't truthful, they aren't accurate in their reporting, and they aren't objective whatsoever. So yeah, that's the state of journalism around the world nowadays, and especially in American popular media. You will have your leftoids, you have your rightoids, and none of them will report on things accurately. It's always going to be some kind of skew when it comes to their work. And unluckily, that kind of skew also exists in hobbyist niches. So you will have your game journalism being affected by that greatly. You know of Gamergate, right? Gamergate was about that. And it later got spun by the same mass media sources into a campaign that apparently hates women and is racist, sexist, whatever. But ultimately, it started as a campaign to keep journalists ethical, to make sure they are doing their jobs properly, because they haven't. They haven't been doing that for quite a long time, and people just got fed up with it. But I'm not gonna go into Gamergate here because that's like a whole stream that I don't want to do, and it's been fucking 9 years already, which is amazing if you think about it. So much time has passed since Gamergate, and people still call it up nowadays. It's insane that Gamergate can live rent-free in so many people's heads. But let's get into today's topic. A lot of you in the comments have been speculating like who we're actually going to be talking about, and we're going to be talking about literally who. And I do streams about literally who's too. I do streams about popular people, but this literally who, I have a chip on my shoulder for him, because once again we share professions and I take exception to the way he does things. So I want to preface and I want to show that he doesn't hold any qualities that I consider good journalism. He doesn't exhibit these sorts of qualities, and I will show you guys why that is so, while also bitching about the guy because I don't like him. So today's stream is very personal to me. You can call it petty, I call it entertaining, and I need to get it out there as a sort of vent, I guess you can call that. You can call me out on this anytime you want. I won't change my mind about it. But who is this guy? He's called Ducky. He's called Ducky, and he. This is no doxing, mind you, because the guy links to his real name all the fucking time in his article. He's Ducky, also called Andrew Amos. He's an Aussie, and and he came on. He only came on my radar because of the interview that he did for the. Was it in Dexerto? I don't remember if it was in Dexerto or someplace else. I think it was in Dexerto. But he conducted an interview with Silvervale. And what was so weird about that interview? Well, in that interview, there was a paragraph. There was a whole paragraph that insinuated that Hololive isn't authentic, and a lot of people took exception to that because it looked as if Silvervale was shit-talking Hololive in a weird interview article. So people started to bring up this to on social media, on Twitter, and the Ducky, Andrew Amos, took notice of this and decided to change the fucking article. And he didn't just do it once; he did it twice. That's the most egregious part here. Like, how do you fuck up an interview so badly that you basically put words into someone's mouth, words they apparently didn't say? But again, I have evidence for all of this. I'm not just telling you guys stories, so let's get right into that. But before that, let me tell you how today's stream is actually structured. So I have a couple of things. I have a couple of arcs for this person. First of all, we're gonna look through the Silvervale interview. Then we're gonna be looking into something that I like to call the retard incident. You'll guys learn what this is soon enough. Then we'll go into the Hogwarts Legacy saga because he was involved in that too. And during that time, he made probably the worst article I've ever read when it comes to VTuber quote-unquote journalism. After that, I have some stuff that involves him being weirdly adjacent and communicating with people that I've covered in a very negative sense on my Twitter account. And I'm not just talking about, people that like to call other people weird names like pedophiles and shit like that. I mean genuine, like, predators, self-admitted predators, as well as people that shield those predators, and generally people that harass others. Like, one of the major harassers during the Hogwarts Legacy thing is friends, or at least is a topic target for Andrew Amos, the Ducky VTuber journalist. And it's really, really strange how close they are with one another. It gets to the point where it becomes uncomfortable, and I think it's a case of, birds of a feather stick together. But we'll get into all of that. Moving on, we have him making comments about Zion's situation. I downloaded parts of his stream where he talks about Zion's document about Niji-sanji and Any Color. And we're gonna watch that, see what kind of opinions he had about Zion during a stream that he held with his friend. After that, we're gonna look through one of his Twitter videos that he made in the format of a short, in which he completely misses the point of how revenue sources and shares are divided between Niji-sanji and Hololive talents. And after that, we'll look through some miscellaneous tweets of his, because those are also pretty indicative of what kind of person he is. But so yeah, let's get right into that. First, the Silvervale interview here. I'm using myself as a source for this one. This is the first tweet that I made about this article. Of course, the archive is still here. You guys can look up these tweets all on your own. they contain archives to the articles as they were when they were discovered by me. And my thread of tweets also contains how those articles were changed later on to make sure that nothing escapes, that he wouldn't try to change history when it comes to his reporting and the way he actually wrote that article. So let's get into that. A tad bit rude to imply that Hololive talents are inauthentic because they are in an agency that actually has rules. Makes you wonder how a statement like this will affect their future collaborations. And here's the article. Not all of the article is going to be screenshotted because only a relevant of segment of the article was actually changed during the time that this whole debacle happened. So Silvervale wants to stream forever as VShoujo star finds purpose in VTubing. Here's the paragraphs I'm talking about. VShoujo has loftier goals than that though. Having just brought on Keison and Amemiya Nazuna in their Japan expansion, they want to flip the VTubing landscape on its head. While its idol culture roots might be great for the Japanese audience, it can also distance VTubers from Western fans who like authenticity. Jesus Christ, I can't speak today. Authenticity. We can show everyone that there can be an agency that's not like Hololive, she continued. You can be yourself, you can have a relationship, and you can talk about yourself and your parents. Just be yourself, just be yourself, and not be tied down by all these expectations. You can be yourself and do what you always done, but have this huge support network and be able to grow and show the community that it's possible in the West to be a force of reckoning. You can show VTubers are here and they can make an awesome content. We are just normal streamers, we have professional backing, and I like how that's going to be normalized and we can just be ourselves. And after that, the article got edited because the guy got called out on it, because it sounded awfully weird that Silvervale would be saying that shit. They edited the article and it's still wrong. Now Niji Sanji's idol culture too. Current version of the article, link to it. Previous version of the article, also linked to it with the archives. And here's the fix. August 19th update. We made an error in omitting some context regarding Silvervale's view on other agencies. Her mentions of ways VShoujo differs from Hololive was not intended to be direct comparison. We have reworded the context to avoid further confusion. We apologize for the error. And mind you, this is still fucking wrong. Having just brought on Keison and Amemiya Nazuna in the Japanese expansion, VShoujo wants to change how people see VTubing too. The agency professes talent first, and that's an idea Silvervale wholeheartedly believes in. There's a raw and personal touch to her content given her intimacy with her family, and while it's not an exclusive draw point to her stream, it's different to what others offer. While some agencies like Hololive and Niji Sanji revolve around idol culture, again, do you see what the problem here is? Niji Sanji has never stated to be rooted or appease idol culture in any sort of sense. VShoujo leaves that direction up to the creator. For Silvervale, this is less about one model being better than the other, but rather about different approaches to the same medium. You can be yourself, and you can have a relationship, and you can talk about yourself and your parents. Just be yourself, not be tied down by all these expectations, she continued. You can be yourself and do what you've always done, but have this huge support network to be able to grow and show the community that it's possible in the West to be a force of reckoning. You can show VTubers are here and they can make awesome content. We're just normal streamers, we just have a professional backing, like how that's going to be normalized, and we can just be ourselves. And guess what? The article got changed once more after that. It's updated once more, and this time the quote is radically different. This is at least absolves Silvervale somewhat, but this journal is incredibly bad at his job. And here's him commenting on it. The quotes in the article have also been replaced with quotes from the interview that dive into the topic a bit more, rather than the glance it was given. It's not just about talking to family and OC moments. There's more. There's more to it, and that should be discussed. Again, here's how it changed. Having just brought on a case on Amami and Azuna in the Japan expansion, VShoujo wants to change how people see VTubing too. The agency professes talent first, and that's an idea Silvervale wholeheartedly believes in. There's a raw and personal touch to her content, given her intimacy with her family. It's not an exclusive draw point to her streams, but it's different to what others offer. While some agencies like Hololive and Nijisaji were born out of Japanese idol culture, see, now it's that they were born out of it. They sneakily changed that again to avoid some backlash, and it's still fucking wrong. Nijisanji was never born out of any idol culture. This is ridiculous, and they sneaked change it too. VShoujo comes from a different background. For Silvervale, this is less about one model being better than the other, and rather different approaches to the same medium. There hasn't been any VTubing agency quite like in the West, and it feels really amazing to be part of it, she continued. VShoujo is different and works really well for a lot of us because of our content pretty close to other normal streamer content on Twitch, but as a VTuber. For more Japanese agencies, you have to ask permission to bring your family on your streams or play certain games. This is wrong too. So, see, they keep changing things and just making things worse for themselves. You can bring your family in to your stream at any point. Pekora and other Hololivers have done that too. So this comes like as completely ignorant. This looks completely ignorant, or they're just making shit up here. Collabs with other streamers have to be planned far ahead and approved by management. You also can't be on stream without your model unless it's just your hands in gloves, and it's pretty common to be vague about your real life. In VShoujo, you can own your model and channel, and you make up your lore if you want any. You can talk about yourself and your parents, your real life, and you can play whatever you want, when you want, with whoever you want. Just be yourself and not be tied down by all these expectations of adhering to a lot of permissions and specifications to what you can do and say. You can be yourself and do what you always done on stream as an indie, but have this huge support network and ability to grow and show in the West that VTubers are here too, and they can make awesome content. So, you see, instead of fixing inaccuracies in their interview itself, they just keep on adding more and more things that make it even more ignorant sounding. And whether part of it is still Silvervale or it's Ducky or whoever is part of the writing team behind this interview is putting in her mouth. And considering how all of this has changed, I think this is putting things in her mouth. And you can probably guess how fucking pissed Hololive fans were about this, because again, this seemed as if Silvervale was starting shit with Hololive, and it didn't help the journalist's case that the fact that he kept changing the article itself, kept changing the interview contents, but also adding these highly inaccurate things to it. But that's not where it ended, because he also decided to comment on this too. This will be all I say about the topic, but it's hard to stay passionate about the VTuber community when fans constantly look to weasel division out of nothing. The infighting between fandoms is insane. Silver is a wonderful person. I hope people realize there's no malice. So, do you understand what the problem here is? The guy clearly misinterpreted Silvervale's words, put them in a context where it looked like as if she was starting shit, and he's blaming others for infighting and causing division, whereas he made his own fucking mistake and caused that division by himself. So, to put it in modern terms, he's incompetent and he might be a little bit dumb too. This is pretty much deflection, as far as I can see. What works for one talent and what they see in one agency might not work for another, and that's okay. I hope no biases in this space. Mind you, remember this comment. I hold no biases in this space because this is gonna be important for the later content that I'm gonna be covering during this stream. Remember this thing. I hold no biases in this space. But I'm grateful VShoujo opened their doors to me first to tell their great stories. I hope to continue doing that with everyone in the future. One clarification that might ruffle feathers: Corpo VTubers are paid to be their character, and even if they express some things out of character, the only exception to this is Suisei, who kept her identity from indie to hololive. VShoujo plus indies have that control, whether for good or bad. If you want my generous interpretation of what he says here, by character he means the model. And even there, then that's not completely accurate, because it's the VTubers themselves that contribute to making what the character is. And there have been many cases where the VTubers themselves have expressed that they participated in making of the lore of these particular, as he put it, characters that we're gonna be playing. So once again, this is not accurate, and the fact that he only mentions Susei here is also not accurate at all, because there have been others. So again, he comes off ignorant at best, and in other cases that we're gonna be seeing, he is gonna be malicious too. I at least interpret that as malicious. But let's read his last tweet here too. What I intend to do with my content is to tell things that go beyond the character and knuckle down into backgrounds and motivations without pushing as far as doxing. There's a lot of beneath the surface that's really cool, and those are the stories I love telling. So yeah, that's the Silvervale case here. Moving on to the next one, the retard incident. So, but before that, I have to say something about conducting interviews as a journalist, and composing articles from them when you're done actually interviewing someone. When you interview someone and that interview takes text form, you make sure that their words are put on paper in the most accurate way as possible. You do not make up your own context. You aren't there to interpret their words, especially when you have direct quotes available from them. And you do not provide this type of editing to an article that's supposed to be an interview of someone, because you can completely misinterpret their positions, as has been done here. This is in a serious company, in a serious publication, this would be grounds for some kind of punishment, if not outright firing. Because he not only misinterpreted her words and sown division between fans of Hololive and Niji Sanji, he also made sure to put in sneaky edits that added a lot more inaccuracies that weren't available in the article beforehand. So once again, when you interview someone, you best damn make sure that the words you're putting out there are completely accurate. And the fact that VShoujo allowed this to be published is another questionable thing. How the fuck did they allow this to happen? You need to understand that this is not common practice in interviewing. The way I conduct interviews is as following. You contact the person you want to interview. Okay, they agree to an interview that's going to be conducted via email. It's not going to be an audio interview or anything like that. Then you ask them what topics they're comfortable talking about before you compose the questions. But of course, you still ask them about the logistical part of delivering that sort of thing. I personally like to write up all of my questions beforehand and then deliver it to them. If any of the questions seem uncomfortable to them, if they're not comfortable answering specific questions, I can simply remove them from the equation. That's no problem at all. And then I give them time to answer the questions in the way they see fit. They return these answers to me. I ask them if it's okay to edit them for grammar, for spelling, and brevity. But the editing for brevity never removes the context of their words, because, again, that's a huge fucking no-no. To misinterpret someone's words in an interview, you have to present it as accurately as possible, to make it as direct as possible, so their words aren't mistaken by anyone in the interview. Once they're fine with all the fixes that were made to the interview goes once again to the editorial department for final checks, and then, because I have a particular position in the publication I'm talking about here, I do the final checks on an interview like that, even checking myself and checking the work of others to make sure that everything's accurate, that there's no errors or anything like that. And then the article is released. So how the fuck did they manage to fuck so many things up in an interview article? I have no idea. But I imagine they skipped a lot of steps when it comes to interviewing people, and they just wanted to get it out as soon as possible and fuck the consequences. I imagine that's how it went. Because Dexerto isn't known for hard-hitting journalism or anything like that. We'll go through what Dexerto does at the end of the stream, so you know that we're dealing with a tabloid here. We're not dealing with anything serious or anything like that. But yeah, moving on. Let's move on to what I consider the retard incident, because this one kind of boils my blood too. So, what is the retard incident? Well, Kotoka of Niji Sanji had a stream a few months ago. It was a marathon stream. It was a two-parter. It was very long. And during that stream, she called a bunch of NPCs retards. Some idiot on Twitter caught that. I don't know how he caught that, because he only posted about her saying that like a day or two after the stream was done, so I can only imagine he went through over fucking 10 hours worth of streaming in order to find something to post about her. And then he made a thread that has since been deleted. I didn't archive it, but essentially in that thread, this exo guy decided to cause a huge fucking stink about it, and call out Kotoka to everyone. And of course, Niji Sanji, having the fan base that they have, decided to make a huge stink about it. And then Ducky, our journalist friend, decided to contribute to that. I sense an apology coming. This language is just not acceptable. Never was, never will be. Hopefully Kotoka can learn from this. I will always refer back to my friend at Magnet Brain about this topic. He's a total inspiration, a voice to listen to in this space. Pick something more creative to say, or even better, be a positive person and say something nice or helpful. Can we please stop calling people retards or calling people retarded when they do something wrong? Even if they're your friend, or if you don't mean anything by it, it's insulting, hurtful, and disrespectful to people with intellectual disabilities. Mind you, she called a bunch of NPC fucking seals retards. NPCs, not even real fucking people. She called NPCs retards, and this whole diatribe started because of that. People will claim cultural differences. People will claim the word was once acceptable. That's all a straw man. What matters is not using that language, calling it out when it's used, and educating why that is. When you have a big following, every word matters. a bit of a weird one, because the situation happened, she still streamed another 90 minutes, and hours later the VOD still hasn't been taken down. She has also tweeted another clip from the stream. I remember that Anna's situation being handled a lot quicker and cleaner than this. The Anna situation he's talking about is the supposed racism one. Well, I guess it's time to see. And then, you know, he keeps on acting like a vulture, because this is normally a non-fucking issue, but these guys and he himself are making it a fucking issue. He is actively contributing to his own fucking article that he's gonna write about this. So he's creating the story. And you can imagine how unethical it is for a journalist to create their own stories in such a manner. Like, imagine you're a journalist and you set a house on fire, and then you decided to report on the house fire. A house has been burning down on so-and-so street. Sources report. So basically that's what he's doing right now. He's setting the house on fire, and then he's gonna report about it. Okay, so she's thanked fans for reaching 100k, disabled monetization for this stream, and has said she will be keeping it short. Transcription to follow. I've seen some posts about the words that said in my prior stream. Hope those words reach you, because your words reached me. They really helped me understand what the situation I was in. Jesus Christ. It made me realize and gave me a knowledge about what mistake I made. I'm very sorry I had to let you down, but I haven't been able to be completely in touch with culture of the English language, and I have previously. I don't want to sound old, but that was a while ago. If you're around in my stream a lot, I am sometimes very unaware of the memes. I remember not knowing some of the dirty puns of the Twitch words. I know how to speak the language, but I'm not up to date with the culture. This is going to sound like I'm making excuses, but what I wanted to say was I was very unaware. I remember the word I think I learned through a friend, and the meaning of it is very different from the meaning of people told me on the internet yesterday. I want to make my stream enjoyable for everyone. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but I think I did and let people down. I wish I could go up to them person by person and say I'm sorry, but the situation wouldn't be made right that way. I'm still trying to figure out why I made that mistake. I think I saw a blog or a little article saying it changed over the last few years. I was not aware, but as a streamer I should have been, so I'm very sorry to the people who got offended. I think for some people it's a little too late. I should have probably said it earlier, but I kind of passed out after the endurance stream. I only figured it out when I woke up and was checking everything. If I had a script, I'd sound smart and clean, but they shouldn't be my actual words. I hope it reaches you. The post did reach me, so thank you so much for that. I will try my best not to mess up next time. If you do give me a next chance. And mind you, the person that called her out first deleted that fucking thing like a coward, because they basically told him he himself was retarded and he's trying to create problems for Kotoka, and he fucking did. The journalist and the guy he's been talking to, the guy he's been praising for basically going after Kotoka, all of them contributed to this fucking situation. And if you understand some other principles of journalism here, is not to cause harm to the subjects that you're reporting on. And the fact that this motherfucker not only contributed to her getting attacked for it, but also decided to write a story that he himself actually contributed to creating is another problem in itself. Go read my article on the situation if you haven't. Niji-sanji's Kotoka Torahime has apologized to fans after using an ableist slur during her 100k endurance stream. I'll try my best not to mess up next time if you do give me a next chance. For Dexerto. Also, they still haven't taken down the VOD. Surely a matter of time. Oh yeah, this is just unacceptable. I hope this gets acknowledged and there is an apology. I can be hard to change the words to have become a habit. Say, but has to be done in these cases. What was acceptable language 10 years ago may not be acceptable today, and people have to respect that. I know for a fact that I've changed my vocabulary a lot to be more respectful of people of all backgrounds. It's a small thing that makes all the difference. What Ducky is doing here is what I already defined at the beginning of the stream, this advocacy journalism. He doesn't want to be objective, he wants to push an agenda. This is agenda pushing. Because, again, Kotoka used that word to not describe mentally ill people, but to describe stupid fucking NPCs. The word retarded in this case was used as a synonym for extremely fucking stupid. So yeah, he's pushing agendas, and we'll see more of that as this thing goes on. And you know what pisses me off more about this than anything else? Is that he's dressing this up in this air of civility. He always deflects, he tries to come off as a, reasonable and civil person, but he's just a retarded agenda pusher. He is what people would call him in 2014 an SJW. And I hate journalists that push agendas, especially ones that they, are personally invested in. Because this is not a money thing for him, this is his personal beef. He doesn't want to make any changes for the positive, he wants his own version of reality to exist. And everyone has to accept the way it is. And you'll see more of that once we get to the Hogwarts Legacy stuff. But let's continue. And here's the article that he wrote. Niji Sanji's Kotoka Torahime has apologized to fans after using ableist slur during her 100k endurance stream. I'll try my best not to mess up next time. If you do, give me a next chance. You can find my rundown of the entire situation in this thread. Also, I know this is a mistake in the article regarding some quoting, but I have fixed it and will show it in a cache update in about 5 minutes. I only realized after I published the piece. My apologies and my mistake. If you want my 2 cents on this, Kotoka's statement on her not being culturally aware is explainable. What isn't is the fact that Niji Sanji / any color seemingly don't have the education in place or sensitivities of Western audience on what is acceptable language on stream. This motherfucker should never watch Face Connect or Lumi or anyone from Face Connect for that matter, because he'll write fucking 10 articles if he's so sensitive about one word. There's even clips of Lumi out there, like low effort clips. Makes these Lumi clips that all begin with I'm Lumi, your favorite tard. So yeah, this guy would shit his fucking pants if he watched Face Connect. Man, they really like to make problems out of fucking nothing. Journalism, my fucking ass. The system is obviously a failing one, given this is not an isolated incident, and people who are in the public-facing figures for a company should be more aware of this. That should be a company-wide policy thing. If I said that in an opinion article, I'd be fired on the spot. Should have been fucking fired for the fucking interview. Not for, well, should have been fired for this one, for contributing to your own fucking story in such a way that you did. Retard. There's no better word to describe this guy. I can't call him the F slur though, because he's gay, and I would be committing a hate crime if I called him the F slur. Let's read the article that he wrote there. Niji Sanji VTuber Kotoka Torahime apologizes after using slur on stream. Niji Sanji VTuber Kotoka Torahime has apologized to fans after using an ableist slur during her 100k subscriber endurance stream. The ex-Soleil star said she was not aware of the meaning of the word due to her cultural background. New Nijisanji debut Kotoka Tarahime from the recent XLA VTuber wave has apologized after she used an ableist slur on a recent broadcast. She called NPCs retarded. That's the only thing that she did. And she called a bunch of NPC seal-looking creatures retarded. The star was pushing to reach 100k YouTube subscribers on December 29th stream when she got angry in her art game. What the fuck? You suck. Seriously, guys. Come on. Can you not take turns to get out of the gate? You fucking retards. The comments quickly circulated with many expressing, well, one guy that you decided to fucking signal boost on Twitter. And again, you're part of the fucking problem. The comments quickly circulated, many expressing disappointment in the XLA member for using ableist slur. She apologized for using language, saying she was not aware of the meaning due to her cultural background. I've seen some posts about the words that said in my prior stream. She said, I hope these words reach you because your words reached me. They really helped me understand what situation I was in. It made me realize and gave me knowledge about what mistake I made. If you are around in my streams a lot, I am sometimes very unaware of the memes. I remember me not knowing some of the dirty puns or the Twitch words. I know how to speak the language, but I'm not up to date with the culture. This is going to sound like I'm making excuses, but what I wanted to say was I was very unaware. I remember the word. I think I learned it through a friend, and the meaning of it is very different from the meaning people told me on the internet yesterday. I want to make my stream enjoyable for everyone. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but I think I did, and let people down. I wish I could go up to them person by person and say I'm sorry, but the situation wouldn't be made right that way. I think for some people it's a little too late. I should have probably said it earlier, but I kind of passed out after the endurance stream. I only figured it out when I woke up and was checking everything. I hope it reaches you. The post did reach me, so thank you so much for that. I'll try my best not to mess up next time, if you do give me a next chance. It comes after fellow Nijisanji and VTuber and Alouette apologized for making a racist remark on stream. She made an insensitive and ignorant comment on certain stereotype and called the controversy a wake-up call to act more responsible online. Even though I had no malicious intent or anything, it was very wrong and 100% racist. She said, reflecting on her actions in November. I'm going to make sure I'm very mindful from now on about how I think, how I act, and what I say. Honestly, I've been treading on the bounds a lot throughout my career in Nijisanji. This honestly was a wake-up call, seriously. And lastly, here's him directly egging on the person that first did the call out. You did amazing work to put a spotlight on this issue. It's a shame fans will bluntly defend talents without realizing the impacts of their mistakes. I hope one day people realize it's okay to be a fan of someone but acknowledge when they mess up. Again, more fucking activism. And yeah, as some of you are pointing out, this fucking guy he wasn't a direct live stream watcher of that stream. He went through a stream that was 10 plus hours long to find something to get offended about and then make a big stink about it. He's this guy is a fucking weirdo, if anything. But yeah, that's the retard incident. And since we've been going for about an hour, I'll go get a drink. But before I get a drink, there's something I'd like to announce. A bit of shilling for myself before we get into the intermission. This year, I'm planning to go to AX, but my job will not sponsor me this time around. So if any of you want to contribute to me going to AX, and in return, I will cover some VTuber stuff I see there. So if any of you guys want to contribute to that, there's a link in the description of this video for a donation goal. I will be doing other streams this week because I have a lot more time this week to contribute to that, if you guys want to pitch in. But yeah, again, donations aren't required or anything. But yeah, if you want to spare something and basically send me to LA to see some VTubers and shit as an industry member, because I got an industry pass and it would be a waste for it to go to waste. So you can do that. So here's my donation goal with $2 in it. So yeah, if any of you guys are interested in contributing, you can do so, and I'll be right back. Here's a very cool intermission I prepared for you, and this is gonna be an intermission to my streams for this time, from this time and onward. So I hope you enjoy that. I'll be right back in about 5 minutes. 'Alright. I'm back. Hope you enjoyed those SSRBs, which are pretty much to me the cutest expression of a fandom after Takodachis. Takodachis are legendary, but SSRBs are cute too. But yeah, let's continue with the shit story. Music backs up. Okay, let's go. So what next do we have on the agenda? Next on the agenda, we have the Hogwarts Legacy situation, and he contributed to that too. And you can kind of probably imagine what he wrote about it. He wrote a pretty fucking disgusting article, demeaning and undermining a lot of the bullying and harassment that was happening to people. But you yourself will experience it in a moment. I don't need to recap it or give you the footnotes. But before that, we'll go into his relationship with Silvervale, because the guy is apparently a big Silvervale fan, and you'll see why. There's gonna be a few elements that contribute to me saying that. There's some amazing people in VTubing, but I have more personal respect for than Silvervale. She has always been so accommodating to me, and her interviews are some of my favorite articles of my entire 6-year career. One with her family is probably my all-time fave. Working in content creation media, whether that be streaming or journalism, everything can be analyzed, tracked, and compared. Too bad he's doing a very bad job in all of these things. It's tiring, I hate it, and at the end of the day, but I always try to highlight the human element because that's what gives this industry spirit. I'll never not gas the article up whenever I mention it, so go read it. The lighting isn't great, but I got my first VTuber tattoo today. I've spoken about it before, but at Silvervale means a lot to me, and I adore her design. When I interviewed her, we spoke about my tattoos, and I said maybe I'd get one of her. Guess I did. And that's what he got. I'd cut my arm off if I got a tattoo of this quality. What's supposed to be cherry blossoms here look like infected wounds. Funny you say oof, because this particular tattoo made a cameo on one of PC streams. In particular, it was during one of Leah's streams, and we're gonna look at that one too. So hold up.
Okay, there you go. This is our next VTuber tattoo that we're going to look at together. So, why your Perky Fastbird started having episodes? What the hell?
I even included her chat in this, so you can see the reaction to it. Dear God, why? Who that? Oh God, oh no. Oof. Oof, I hate it.
What? Leah doesn't know letters. I know letters.
Jesus
I'm really good
Christ.
at the alphabet. Yes.
Get better skin. Looks like blood on the side. Is that supposed to be silver? That's infected. Why though? Something looks wrong.
Oh, this is another VTuber tattoo example. This is somebody that got
Man, that skin. He looks like he's addicted to something.
Tattooed on them. Yes.
Is that an infected injection mark?
No, they have. This is a tattoo of Silvervale.
Big oof.
Yes. Those are
Acne.
cherry blossoms.
Inflammation.
Silvervale has cherry blossoms. There's cherry
He
blossoms
showed you
all over it. Yes. On the forearm too.
Yuck.
If you guys got a VTuber tattoo,
Journalism,
where
quote
would you
unquote,
want to see
nasty.
it tattooed on you? Would you want to see it on?
They look like infections. Looks like infections.
Like, wait, hold on. Forehead or ass?
But yeah, that tattoo didn't go over well. But you might be wondering, why am I bringing this up? Why am I laughing at this guy's very bad Silvervale tattoo that better off be I don't know, destroyed? Maybe someone can put a flame to it or anything like that. I don't know. I'd cut my arm off. But my reason for including this is that the guy claims to be an extreme Silvervale fan, but during the Hogwarts Legacy thing, he's been extremely silent about anything that has been happening to Silvervale. And, you know, instead of backing his best friend when she got harassed and shit like that, he instead made an article basically saying that the bullying wasn't real, or rather the bullying was pretty minor or something like that. He even put bullying in quotation marks to undermine what was happening to people during that whole shit. So let's take a look at that stuff. Here's him retweeting an article that says that do you guys remember that one streamer that cried because she got bullied because of Hogwarts Legacy, and they basically came to her stream to fuck around with her? This is an article about that. So he retweets that. I think some of you will be quite embarrassed about how you reported on this game. And the gamer article basically said, "Oh, white woman tears, trans rights, that kind of shit. It's all about standing up for, you know, the terrible activists that were just harassing people." And it all started with this one woman. So yeah, that's what he retweeted here, so you guys know what side of the argument he was on here. I know a lot of this drama is Twitter bullshit. I know some trans people are fixating on this game and go too far. I know you want to stay out of it for an easy life. I know you might be not agree with the boycott. Even with that, a lot of you have fallen way below par. I have seen no story which reported this. Investigate what the abuse was, offer evidence, reach out for a quote or mention. The quite important fact that just before he says he's bummed out, he defends Roman Polanski, Michael Jackson, calls trans people the alt-left. I think that person called the activists, you know, they always want to make these broad stroke statements that all trans people are this and that. But again, this is one of those cases where those dumb activists that just go after people are fucking called that. And yeah, here's the article. Let's talk about bullying people for playing Hogwarts Legacy. The big news around Hogwarts Legacy is one cisgender streamer getting upset, which reveals the layers of bias around the reporting on this game. I've had enough of reading stuff and not really seeing the debate go anywhere meaningful. In fact, it's going backwards to invalidate entire community existence and lived experience. Time to pen a piece. Dope, when it's going to be posted? It's live now. The debate around Hogwarts Legacy has put trans VTubers right in the firing line. Amid the, see here, in quotation marks, bullying claims, an entire community's lived experience is being invalidated and harmful stereotypes perpetuated. My opinion for Kawa news drops. I'm not trans, but I have many friends who are. Many are tired and don't have the energy to speak up. Some don't want to deal with the harassment. Their voices and experiences have been drowned out in this debate, so I hope this elevates it, even just a little bit. And mind you, for journalists, opinion pieces are nothing new. But even in those, you should at least have an air of objectivity. An objective way to cover the Hogwarts Legacy debate would be there were trans activists that decided to go after people playing Hogwarts Legacy, going into their streams basically harassing them with all kinds of slogans and shit like that. And from that point, it escalated into something completely different. People took notice of the activists. There were actually transphobes going after those trans activists. There were normal people just telling them to back the fuck off, not to harass anybody because of the game, not to harass trans people, but to tell the fucking activists to back off. But this guy, instead of showing all sides to this, that there were activists available here, there were normal people telling them to stop, as were that there were trolls trying to play both sides of this weird internet conflict. He instead decided to go, oh, the bullying is is not that bad, but think of the lived experience of the trans community. So yeah, he took his sides and decided to throw any kind of objectivity out the fucking window. Mind you, even in opinion pieces, you can remain objective. You can show all sides of the equation. But he decided to do something completely else, something quite a bit more disgusting. He's an agenda pusher. He's an advocacy journalist. But I consider those just propagandists. He's a very sorry excuse for a journalist as far as I'm concerned. I'm just angry right now. How do you deadass make a whole ass article about some crying bullying for being held accountable for their actions? What about the trans people that have been receiving death threats and hate rates for weeks? Some of the reporting has been disappointing. I tried to speak out on the matter in particular. I'm glad I have received even just an ounce of good reception for it, even if my mentions are choked. Mind you, this is also part of the people that he interacts with. Like, he interacts with like genuine harassers and genuine racists. Mavis here is a person I covered before in a video before as well. Mavis is one of those anti-white racists. She's the kind of person that goes, oh, you can be racist towards white people because power structures exist, because you can be racist to people in power. And she made a lot of anti-white racist remarks that I covered in a video before. Basically, she was the victim of racism and decided to fight that with anti-white racism instead. So yeah, she's a piece of shit, and the guy is constantly seen interacting with people like that, which I'm gonna be showing later. I know this is like, guilt by association stuff that I'm almost guilty of right now, but this demonstrates agenda pushing because he's in favor of what these people are doing. So this portrays his character accurately by his interactions with them. And there's the fucking article. I'm gonna read through it. Amid Hogwarts Legacy harassment, again, this in quotation marks, like bullying with the quotation marks, showing that he doesn't take that seriously what happened to these people. Don't forget what trans VTubers face daily. Hogwarts Legacy launch has led to mudslinging with the trans community and their lived experiences being invalidated in the process. Editor's notes: this opinion piece has been reviewed and cleared for publishing with a few changes afterwards. The views shared in this place may not necessarily reflect the views of the rest of the writers here at Newsdrop. Oh, they do, because this whole place is run by Kawa. Kawa is a VTuber agency, a VTuber group I'd be very careful with interacting with. We hope everyone's kind and understanding. Thank you very much. To say Hogwarts Legacy has split the gaming community would be an understatement. The long-awaited Harry Potter game, letting fans join Hogwarts and become wizards in a fantasy world they left self-inserted in for so long, was finally here. However, to call it a split of the gaming community, positioning the debating in a way there are two sides that differ in opinion, and the truth might lie somewhere in the middle, is invalidating and reductive to the lived experiences of the communities the game's existence affects. So again, he's already here discarding two sides of the equation. He's taking a fucking side and saying, yep, nope, I reject your reality and substitute it with my own. Let's move on. I have been a journalist for 6 years, in the games media for nearly 5. It's seen as a progressive frontier full to the brim of diverse voices. The LGBTQIA+ community especially has immense representation in gaming compared to traditional fields. Never in all of the time have I felt so humiliated for the craft failing to stop, for a community who is so often downtrodden just because of a childhood fascination. It's not just games journalism though, it's the wider community, and to me, it's mind-blowing that a topic which is so clearly on one color, maybe we shouldn't hate people just because of their gender identity. How about we not hate people because of the fucking game they play? How about fucking that? It's somehow polarizing and there's a debate about treating people fairly. I cannot even begin to break down just how wrong J.K. Rowling's views on the lived trans experience is. It's fundamentally inhumane. If you want to read up on all that, I urge you to this comprehensive piece penned by Jesse Earl on GameSpot. And in essence, that's why Hogwarts Legacy's release and the reaction to it is more than just a game, the small but significant section of this community we love. Here's the tweet. Trans people don't get to ignore the pain the franchise has become intrinsically linked to, and those who wish to care for them shouldn't get to do it so either. Good on GameSpot to put this front and center before the review dropped. Sadly, Hogwarts Legacy's launch was always going to be rocky for trans people, especially for those with a sense of nostalgia for the franchise buried deep. Every tweet from J.K. Rowling is like a twist of the knife, but many approach the issue with dignity and grace. Yeah, dignity and grace. My ass. In the lead up to Hogwarts Legacy's release, the trans VTubing community operated on a policy of prevention is the best cure. Speaking out, explaining why it was harmful before launch, politely asking people not to play it. Gaslighting people that they're causing harm to others by playing a fucking video game. That's what it was. And we've had so many streams about it, and I've made so many videos about it too. You guys fucking know the drill. I don't have to explain this. It was probably effective in changing the minds of some. Doubt it. Those educating comments at least made me more than indifferent. But wider than that, as it stands, Hogwarts Legacy's launch is one of the most popular in Twitch's history. And if social media debate is anything to go by, trans harassment has only gotten worse with the game's release. Not better. Again, the trans activists did this to the trans community by acting like assholes to people that wanted to play a video game. This is all backfiring on them. There has been reporting on streamers getting harassed for playing the game. The level of harassment varies. There are a minority of comments that are toxic and should be condemned, but most of the commentaries are educationally in nature and conveyed with an air of disappointment and displeasure more than hatred. Again, gaslighting. Not minor disappointment. The VTubing space has not been immune to this. Popular Japanese-English VTuber Amano Pikami cancelled her first Hogwarts Legacy stream after being again, in quotation marks, as if it did never happen, with hate on Twitter for it. Whole Life talents Muna Hoshinova and Usada Pekora have streamed the game without major worries, but other VTubers may have faced similar comments. And yes, they were hit with some horrible messages. But as one VTuber streams the game, more become comfortable with following in their footsteps, especially so as bigger ones take part. It's important to know, genuinely attacking people, sending threats of violence and death is wrong. There's also a definite culture divide between the English streaming space and other languages. That's a debate for another day, but let's not ignore the two core facts here. Trans VTubers face way more harassment on a daily basis. Hate raids are common occurrence. Mind you, again, if you ever streamed anything on Twitch, if you see, hate raids are not just directed one identity or another. Everyone faces harassment on Twitch. Everyone faces harassment on YouTube too, in a lesser fashion for sure. But it happens to fucking everybody. It doesn't matter what identity you have. For some, it's just a convenient excuse to attack you just because, you know, you're somehow different. That's just the nature of just streaming. Should it be like this? Fuck no, but it just happens. And saying that someone is facing more harassment than another group is just... it's just wrong to mention here, because it just doesn't add anything to the discussion. You could just say that all harassment is wrong and go like that. But nope, he has to make a point that, you know, one group has it worse than the others. No matter the amount of measures platforms like Twitch implement or the protections each streamer individually takes, if you're trans, critics come after you for every stream, every day, and try to invalidate every part of your existence. That's kind of funny, considering I have trans friends who are streamers too, and the vast majority of them either have never faced this kind of harassment, or there's very little of it. But again, he's just ultimately biased in what he's doing right here. The level of harassment is a bit more than telling a cisgender streamer to acknowledge the trans lived experience, maybe not support the game. The bullying, once again in fucking quotation marks, VTubers face for playing the game is so tiny in comparison to what trans VTubers face. It's like spitting their face. The easiest thing in the wider community could do to support these trans creators is just not engage with the media, but that's not happening. We see so many people paying lip service and saying they'll be ready to help us out. A trans VTuber told News Drop, who asked to remain anonymous for their safety. And then when the time comes, when the task is to literally save money and not buy a game, it's suddenly too much. It's a direct line to anti-trans stuff. Rowling's been caught donating to the folks doing all these anti-trans bills in Texas. I've seen maybe 1-2 death wishes towards people playing it, and that's awful. But the folks who say trans folks are too aggressive are some of the same ones calling us slurs and telling us to off ourselves in those hate rate clips. Editor-in-chief of the Gamers, Stacey Henley, who is trans, put it best. I'm sure some people who are playing the game are dealing with comments that are nasty. I'm also sure that people who are playing it are equating reasonable objections and the lack of anonymous support as nastiness in place of any actual harassment. The second fact is many online are overblowing just what harassment is. Stacey covers that nuance perfectly. I'm damn sure more than anything else that trans people are dealing with the most nastiness day in, day out, both because of this game and just because they're trying to live their lives. Mind you, if there was a game, if the situation was reversed, if say like the trans activist community or whatever decided to play some kind of game and other people had like some beef with it, that it supported something nasty or whatever, I wonder if they got a similar level of critique, you know, minor disappointment in the form of fucking gaslighting. I wonder if then they would consider that harassment. I bet they fucking would. I bet they would fucking consider it harassment. People are calling the subtle art of expressing mild disapproval and moving on as targeted harassment. And these are the same people who call trans people snowflakes for dealing with the barrage of death threats just for existing. The trans bully narrative is the same shit as when protesters and an entire group became painted as rioters. VT Rainbow member Marina said on Twitter, "It's a narrative meant to invalidate a movement. It's a narrative meant to serve the transphobic agenda. All bullying is bad, but criticism or unfollowing isn't bullying." Yeah, too bad none of these people ever decide to explain what form that criticism took place, what form it took during this whole fucking thing. Jesus Christ, these people like to change and deflect. Damn, that's big. I'm not here to police whether you should play Hogwarts Legacy or not. By all means do so, but understand actions have consequences. Sounds like a threat to me. If you label yourself as a trans ally, there's a subtle undercurrent of disapproval every time you go live playing Hogwarts Legacy. I don't think a friend playing it makes them an awful person, but it does definitely disappoint me, or at least call their priorities into question. The anonymous trans VTuber said, "At the end of the day, if you're asked not to play a game because of its problematic roots, maybe you should try to understand why it's problematic and generally hurtful to your community. Rather than turn heel and label them bullies, don't ignore their lived experience." And yeah, Marina VT is one of those VTuber trans activists too. But, you know, being an activist is not the problem to me. One of the problems I have with Marina personally is that she's one of the people that basically signal boosted accusations, the false accusations against Taiga. And once Taiga, the VTuber, the femboy VTuber that was accused of being a pedophile and all other nasty shit. And she was one of the leading forces behind that harassment. And even months after, or maybe even a year after all of that was proven to be bunk, the pedophile accusations, that is, she still doubled down on not taking anything back. So that's my fucking beef with her. And again, there's gonna be many other people that are pretty nasty that are gonna be coming up in this story that's related to Ducky. But yeah, that was his Hogwarts Legacy shit. After this, we have... which one should we tackle next? Let's see. We have miscellaneous stuff. We have... oh yeah. The Yukihime stuff. I'd like to show you what kind of biases Ducky has and what kind of people surround him too. And one of those is Minty Yukihime that I had personal beef with. And I have to show you the context for this, because she decided to come after me after I basically called Ducky's article about Hogwarts Legacy disgusting, because I do think it's disgusting how it downplays everything. So let's get into that one. "You're disgusting with how you downplay harassment faced by people just wanting to enjoy themselves with the game. Putting words like bombarded and bullying quotation marks showing how much you don't give a fuck about what happened." And there she is. "Still haven't seen a single example of any real harassment beyond people explaining their disappointment or saying that they're unfollowing, which yes, it's actually reasonable to make a comparison of how that doesn't stack up to the harassment chance people get daily, fam." This is gonna quickly escalate into something very stupid, so be ready for that. "Cried on stream." And mind you, this is her talking about Silvervale. I'm giving you here context about how she behaves towards other people. "Cried on stream." She said she was gonna take a break. That's not crying on stream. That website is apparently down now. Mentioning the website that showed what people were playing Hogwarts Legacy, just to target them a bit more. "And I severely doubt it was used by an actual chance people to send serious harassment to anyone. Again, it's being blown out of proportion." Pikami cancelled her stream because of harassment spam. She didn't say why she cancelled her stream. There's no traces of any harassment on her posts, but there are. And it's all well documented by me and other people. "Maybe something happened in pre-stream chat, but that's it. And trans streamers get hate and harassment spam all the time, regardless of what games they play. So, there's countless of them. You don't want to look for them, and LOL to that logic. Trans streamers get hate and harassment all the time, so any harassment to the streamer is invalid. That's like telling a mother whose son was murdered that people get murdered all the time to get over it." And here's me showing how she basically antagonized Silvervale and made fun for crying because her friends got fucking doxxed and she got harassed. I don't think the constant antagonizing attitude is helping your narrative when you paint yourself as victims of this whole situation. Here's what she did. VTuber concept. A saffron wolf that has the same color schemes as the straight pride flag, who publicly hates Harry Potter and loves trans people, named Golden Gale. I think she would look like this. No, she would say she loves trans people and Harry Potter and then secretly ban the word Hogwarts in chat. And then when Hermione calls her out on it, she would cry and call Hermione a muggle. That's so true, LMAO. Goddamn, Minty, you're going for the trophy and here I am for it. The joke came to me in my head this morning and I got debated not posting it because I knew people would get angry, but then I got some more info on the situation and you know what? Fuck it. LOL, I don't even think this is that mean, to be honest. If she was willing to say she doesn't hate trans people. Compared to what she's done and encouraged, this is literally nothing, LMAO. What the fuck, bro? I'm actually disappointed in you. This is not what I expected out of you and all you of all people. We actually contribute towards the hate. Whatever happened to love, not hate? I don't exactly think this is hateful. This joke wouldn't be funny if she was just willing not to call trans people freaks. But unfortunately, after that, I think jokes like this is kinda warranted, to be honest. This isn't a joke. This is simply hateful. I would absolutely love to hear or see what she called anyone a freak. I watched the stream. She literally bawled her eyes out over the unwanted attacks and death threats. If you're one of those who thinks that her playing the game automatically makes her transphobic or something and thinks it's fine she has to deal with all of this BS over a video game, then you're part of the problem. I'm glad this fucking VTuber called her out on it. First thing on Google search result, fam, and I get where you're coming from, but don't start swinging if you don't know the full story. Of course, just buying the game doesn't make her a transphobe, but reducing the issue to just the game is ignorant of trans struggles. On top of that, until I see you also boycotting Universal Studios, PES, Legos and more, I really don't want to see you harass people over this game. Just saying, you can't boycott one without boycotting the others. As funny as that is, the lawsuit would go crazy. I'll throw hands with V-Shoujo in court. Really swinging a bat at a hornet's nest here. Stay safe. And we're going back to this discussion with her. Constant gaslighting and guilt-tripping people isn't calm explanations, it's a form of harassment. Bro, where? LOL. Let me take some screenshots from that very video you linked, with polite wording like please reconsider and please understand. This is gaslighting and guilt-tripping to you? You need to grow a thicker skin if you think this is harassment, my guy. Let's see how thick her skin is once this discussion continues, though. Trying to educate someone in the reality of the situation politely without any threatening language or any form of harassment is not gaslighting or never will be. You're trying to equate please don't play this game to literal death threats. You see the problem with that? Then she links me the dictionary definition of gaslighting. Manipulating using psychological methods into questioning their own sanity or powers of reasoning. And that's exactly what the fuck they did to Pikmin and others. Because they said they are harassing, they are contributing to the death of trans people and they were contributing to all the problems that are connected to J.K. Rowling. Basically, making sure that they feel guilty for their fucking choices. And if that's not fucking manipulation and gaslighting, I don't know what the fuck is. So, thanks for proving my point for me, I fucking guess. I see a problem with your whataboutisms. Two of these things can be bad even if you don't think they are equal in intensity. Let me stroke your head and calmly whisper in your ear how your actions led to people being hurt. Ooh. Whataboutisms isn't a real thing, and even if you were saying my argument was fallacious, that's not true either. Of course, things can be bad in different ways, but literally kindly explaining real information is never will be gaslighting or harassment at any level. You are going to die on this hill, aren't you? Making someone feel guilty for their choices will never be polite in any context. You are incredibly callous and dismissive. Hope something like what happened to Pikami doesn't happen to you. If it does and you feel bad, grow a thicker skin. And now she got fucking stupid. Nice, very cool of you to insult and threaten me. I threatened her, by the way, with what I said just now. Right there. I'm also not even being callous, just honest. Anyway, making someone feel guilty for their choices is so vague I apply to anything. Claiming that's all it takes for something to be harassment is so reductive, dude. I hate these fucking people. They're so out of touch with reality. And once you actually get to talk to them, everything just falls apart for them. They're not making any logical fucking sense. And this, you threatened me just now, is just icing on the fucking cake. And we go back to Ducky on this shit. When I interview people, I know I'm doing a professional job. However, I like curating closer relationships with creators as I like following up and telling more stories as they crop up. As journalists are still humans, I do enjoy chatting without any need to make an article. I do talk to some VTubers I have previously interviewed semi-regularly, and it makes me so happy when we can just have regular conversations. I just love talking to people, and if we have interacted or not, but you're interested, my DMs are open for any reason. See, this is another thing I don't agree with him, is getting close to the targets of your reporting. This creates additional biases for you, and your reporting will not be accurate once you do that. So, again, you can be friends with all the people you want, but after you become friends with them, and then you start making articles about them to, enrich yourself, basically to forward your career, then I will put your objectivity into doubt. But again, I don't think this fucking guy ever cared to be any kind of objective. And VTubing is a way to express oneself online. I could be play a thing, but for trans creators, it's so much more. I spoke to more than that and trans people for Dexerto about their VTuber experience with gender identity exploration and affirmation. A massive thanks to everyone who contributed to this place, and you will find that a lot of people that are genuine harassers and some of them hide predators are included in this. One of them, here's Binti, which you already know from the few of the previous posts. There's Mavis, the anti-white racist. There's Tessa VT, who we'll get in a moment. Again, there's a lot of these weird people orbiting this motherfucker, and all of them are most of them. I don't want to paint all of them with the same fucking broad strokes, but a lot of these people here have been covered by me, and they have contributed to some sort of harassment against people in the past. So be aware of that. And the fact that they all orbit this fucking Ducky guy and are friends with him is very telling. You did a great job giving us a voice here, and I'm blessed to be representing the trans community alongside all these wonderful people. Thank you for the amazing opportunity, Ducky. I have to give you an extra special thanks. If you weren't so public in sharing your journey, I'd like to keep the article on back burner for much longer. I'm so glad I could do your story as well as everyone else's justice. Oh, Ducky, that's so sweet of you. I'm really glad to have been helping inspiring this then. I'm so very appreciative of you being so thorough and responsible in your handling of the topic too. It's all one huge fucking circle jerk as far as I'm concerned. My heart goes out, and then there's more comments after the article dropped. My heart goes out to the trans VTubers tonight as a community who need to do better to protect vulnerable and marginalized groups. Please check in with your trans friends today. I'm sure they appreciate the support. What he's saying here is a reference to something that happened in light of the Hogwarts Legacy thing, and that was a VTuber apparently committed suicide, allegedly committed suicide, and a lot of trans activists decided to blame that on Silvervale and the Hogwarts Legacy situation, and her calling bullies and harassers Twitter freaks. This is the situation the guys he's referring to. All of that turned out to be a fucking hoax. It turned out to be just a person, like, I don't know, wanting attention of something similar, but it was revealed to be a huge fucking hoax. It wasn't real whatsoever. And to the people who first instinct is to question what's going on around, get a grip. That wouldn't be a discourse if there wasn't a trans person involved. It's honestly shameful. There's respect for the dead in one scenario and just wanting to make sure in another. You're no fucking journalist if you accept everything as it is. Your job is to fucking investigate things and find out if they're true or not. Your job isn't to immediately go, oh, respect for the dead just because they're a certain identity or not. You're a piece of shit if you go by, these kinds of things. Will address this before it gets derailed? Yes, I've seen the hoax claims. That doesn't invalidate the fact that trans people do die more frequently as a result of harassment and doxing. One bad actor can sour the movement for clout, but there's also thousands of other real cases. Think about the real cases, don't investigate the fucking hoaxes. How many fucking hoaxes were there? Jesus fucking Christ, man. These people. Yeah, that interview from 2022 wasn't the last part that wasn't the last time that he had Minty Yukihime on. This is I believe from May of this year. Episode 5 of Behind the Model with Minty Yukihime is now live. I'm grateful to call Minty a friend, and her story never fails to make me smile. You can watch a full episode on YouTube now. So yeah, again, becoming friends with the subject he covers, objectively immediately out the fucking window. So, remember when I mentioned that for journalists it's important to be truthful, to be accurate, and to be objective? He broke all of these 3 things already, and I'm not even done with him yet, because there's more to that. But yeah, this is the Yukihime fucking situation. It was pretty complicated. It's pretty fucking shit. But that's not everything. Next, we have him talking about the cuts, or we have him talking about the revenue cuts for merchandise between Niji-Sanji and Hololive, and there he was completely inaccurate and just went on a tirade in a small shorts-like video where he gets things wrong and just completely ignores the distinction of how much Hololive talents earn from merchandise compared to Niji-Sanji talents. And again, this shows the level of competence this guy has, so let's watch that.
So there's been a lot of reports about Anycolor giving their talents a revenue split of between 1 to 3% for merchandising, which does sound really low. However, what does that number actually mean? I combed through the financial data of both Anycolor and Cover Corp to compare, and it's not as bad as you think for your Oshi. Both agencies report their income per VTuber. Niji-Sanji's on a graph, so I've taken a rough approximation of each Niji-Sanji EM Live earning about 75 million Japanese yen of revenue per quarter. For Hololive across all branches, yes, stars and ID included, it's about 200 million per VTuber a year, or around 50 million per quarter. I'm a journalist and I don't deal with numbers often, but some napkin math based off the approximate figures shows just how little merch sales matter. Hololive reports merch making up about 35% of their total revenue. The bulk actually comes across from streaming. Niji-Sanji is much more reliant on merch, around 72.5%, but they have more members and that means more merch runs for anniversaries and birthdays. Both companies absorb the cost of a lot of merch making as one of their value propositions to talent, so logically they'll try and recoup that. Indie talents who do similar merch runs also suffer the same fate, often having to put up with extreme overheads and barely breaking even. Even the 1% revenue split on merch though, the talent is still bringing in a decent amount of money. Niji-Sanji EM merch brings in about $4,000 USD a quarter for a talent, while on Hololive it's closer to $1,300 USD. That pales in comparison to streaming revenues, which even assuming a 25% revenue split for talents after their respective agencies plus YouTube or Twitch take a cut, results in them taking home $29,000 and $35,000 respectively a quarter. Add on sponsored streams, events, licensing and games, the average talent in both agencies with the numbers we have takes home around $50,000 USD a quarter. This is all excluding any sort of salary too. Of course, these agencies are very skewed to the top. The top 30 talents in Niji-Sanji make around 60% of all revenue, and the top 20 in Hololive have a similar split. But even at some low band estimates, getting into either one of these agencies can earn you a living off the bat. Can a revenue split of 1 to 3%, as is rumored, be improved on? Of course, but you have to take all of these numbers with a grain of salt and put them in context. No, your Oshi is not being extorted by your favorite agency, so put down the pitchforks. So there's been
It's funny that he makes these conclusions, even that he's completely wrong, and he didn't even do the research of what the talents themselves were saying. Because if you guys know any of the Niji Sanji talents that actually spoke up about the revenue sharing when it comes to merchandise sales, you would know that a lot of them do say that they get jack shit from the merchandise that's being sold of them. And it's not only the EN livers talking about this, it's also the Japanese ones. And whenever the topic of support comes up when it comes to the livers of Niji Sanji, they always say to buy voice packs, and they almost always mention that they get the least out of the merchandise. And the best way to support them is via those voice packs or just direct donations via, what do they have those? They're like Streamlabs or Stream Elements. And that's the best way to do it. But again, this VTuber journalist, quote unquote, didn't know that. And he just went to the financial reports of both Any Color and Cover to compare numbers, but he still failed to make the distinction of actually what the percentage split is between Hololive and Niji Sanji. And, you know, talking fast, putting numbers on the fucking screen doesn't make you accurate. And coming to a conclusion based on false premises and based on false information that you got out of it and out of your own false, conclusions, it just shows how shitty of a journalist you are. So again, accuracy out the fucking window, because he couldn't even do this much of a research into what he was talking about. So yeah, he's a retard, so to speak. And then we move on to almost the final stuff here. We move to the Zion stream that he conducted with his friend about her document that recounted her experience in during her career as Zion Lanza. So let's take a look at that. This one is going to be a longer one, and we're not going to watch all of it. This is the whole stream that I downloaded, but I am only interested in the portions where they actually do talk about the document and in what ways they talk about it.
So now we can talk about the absolute topic at hand, and I guess start off virtual recap for officially episode 2, unofficially, I don't know, episode 6, 5, 7, something like that. We had a few unofficial
Something
ones.
around that. The second half of the tens, the single digits.
Let me speed it up just to be sure. I'll be skipping parts of the video too, because this is like 1 hour and 42 minutes long, and we're not gonna watch through all of this.
So now we can talk about the absolute topic at hand, and I guess start off virtual recap for officially episode 2, unofficially, I don't know, episode 6, 5, 7. Something like that. We had a few unofficial
Something
ones.
around that. The second half of the tens, the single digits.
Yeah, we are rapidly approaching 10 episodes already.
Oh my gosh.
I know, right? And I guess the big news of the last 2 weeks in VTubing dropped basically bang on 24 hours ago, with a tweet longer and Google Doc from one Sayu Okami, who graduated in October 2022, didn't tweet anything for 6 months, and then comes out with a statement that, I don't know, eerily ties her to one recently exiled agency VTuber by the name of Zion Lanza, who everyone would be relatively familiar with off the back of, well, her being the first member terminated from the Sanji EN. 3 months into the gig. So,
And contrary to most people's thoughts, no, it's actually not Yugo, because Yugo, they continue to insist, is a mutual separation.
Yes.
And we'll take their word for it. Especially given how much they are allowed to refer to each other versus everyone else.
Yeah, except that Yugo got fucking graduated. The mutual separation they only managed to come to because, after a lot of discussion, they didn't want to make it look like Yugo was getting fired, but, getting graduated instead of, graduating on your own is fucking quite different. You could almost interpret it as getting fucking fired.
Yeah.
Even just the situation around Yugo's graduation, quote unquote, is much more benign compared to the termination of Zion. But before we dig too deep into the discourse,
If you looked into it, there was a lot of problems with Yugo as well. Part of it were Yugo's own problems, but as well as Yugo's management having problem with Yugo himself. So you do have to consider that it was a mutual fault there.
around it and what the document and the discourse around it and reading between the lines of the document. Go through a quick rundown, which I typed out in my Discord the other day, or yesterday actually, because that's when it was. Oh god, how far up do I have to scroll? Here we go. So the dossier is 22 pages. Sayu throughout the document insists that she is not Zion, and on Twitter insists that she is not Zion, and so I feel like I have to proclaim that at the start. Sayu Okami swears she is not Zion Lanza. Do with that information what you will. Basically, the claims are that Zion was, introducing and doing a couple of, interesting rumors, and she said, yeah, she was doxxed down to her home address, name and face by those expressing malicious intent, Zion, that is, that Niji Sanji didn't inform Zion that it would be taking any action against her, despite their joint statement, which is, a bit of, a interesting thing to bring up early. Maybe they did take action and they just didn't tell her, maybe they didn't take action because she was already on the outer, hard to tell. Basically, the document goes down and talks about the 12 statements and allegations that Niji Sanji made when terminating Zion Lanza, and Sayu offers a defense or concedes various amounts of them. Most of them are explanations on what Sayu and Zion think were the reasons for the suspensions. And some of them are just, directly calling out Niji Sanji and saying, well, no, that didn't happen. Basically, some of the allegations made by Niji that Zion concedes is, her using copyrighted music, making statements which could lead to speculation, offensive remarks around sexual assault, infringements of the use of games rules that Niji Sanji has, expressing a will to use ROM hacks on stream, and I guess not receiving permission to announce her membership perks, were, things that Zion conceded. And then the things that were refuted revolved around revealing internal info to genmates, offensive remarks around discrimination, mostly anti-Semitic insults, which is the big thing that was circulating when her suspension and then termination was announced. The comments considered offensive to game devs, giving false information to other Niji Sanji livers, false brand sponsorship, which then was accompanied by a very hilarious screenshot of a D's Nuts joke, and the allegation that she semi-refutes and semi-concedes is liking comments defaming other Niji Sanji livers, which she said happened but was a mistake, and she apologized profusely for it, which is heavily speculated to be a tweet that she liked that was critical of Kyo. In the aftermath of her suspension. Second suspension, because yes, in 3 months at Niji Sanji, she was suspended twice. Across all of that, she spoke about how Zion felt isolated during her first suspension, and then following the second suspension and termination. She lost a lot of friends, and the supporters of her have been ostracized by the community. There's mentions of self-harm and depression, and clinical diagnosis of that in the document, which she kind of puts in as a comment to explain some of the actions that she took in terms of her mental state. And then she also went on, and actually what was simultaneously the most interesting and yet most confusing part of the entire document was what's this? Tell me the page count. 12 pages of Zion's personal experience written from first person by Sayu. So, again, do with that information what you will. Going through the interview process, some of the questions asked, mostly about salary and content direction, including details of Zion's interview with Rika, the CEO of Niji Sanji, Rika Tasumi. The debut song process, Zion allegedly being forced to pay for a lot of her debut out of pocket, including the lore video and other graphics and animations. A comment which really rubbed me the wrong way, for reasons we will get into later, about her meeting the other Niji Sanji EM livers and saying, unfortunately things did change as time went on, but that was on until the very end, talking about their kindness, which, if you had seen one Finana clip after the announcement of their termination, kind of puts that into context. And a bunch of other things around management and...
I like that you can already tell that he puts other people's words ahead of Zion's. He's gonna get a lot of dismissive. I watched part of it, and both of them are gonna get very dismissive of what Zion claimed here. What Sayu claimed here, of Zion, rather.
Alleged slights against her. That is the briefest rundown you will see on this topic on YouTube, and on Twitch, and by anyone. And it is still ridiculously long.
That's wrong, because I did shit about this, and Falls did shit about this in much more detail than your little fucking stream did here.
And this document goes into a lot of detail, while I also feel like it says...
we had here one whole ass fucking stream about it. Like, we went through the whole fucking document.
Simultaneously nothing at all. Where do we even start, Hannah? Where do we start? Where do we want to start with this?
So the thing is, I guess, first off, it's really hard to know how much of this document I can trust. Because, like, there were so many parts of the document where I was just like, well, this part, you're just not revealing the entire truth. Like, for example, I know for a fact, just based on online research, that Niji-sanji uses contractors sometimes for management. And that when she was like, I was reprimanded for reaching out to somebody who was a handler for us before, and then simultaneously told, like, you cannot do this. On the surface, this looks terrible, right? But once you know the context of the fact that that person that she contacted before was probably a contractor and in this murky area where, like, maybe you do have permission to message this person, but maybe not.
Yeah, but what does that fucking matter? Her management should have told her who to fucking contact about it. She wasn't informed about any of this, and now you're just putting the blame on her because she didn't know what to do. Even though there's so much evidence of Niji's, of any color's management being incredibly fucking bad to their talents, and constant stories of fucking mismanagement. I did a whole fucking stream about fucking Niji-sanji drama, and a lot of it is related to how their fucking managers deal with shit, or rather don't deal with shit. So making that argument that she contacted someone that was a contractor and that was apparently no bueno is just like a weird fucking deflection of guilt back at her. This is so fucking stupid.
It becomes like a how much of the information are you actually leaving out kind of thing.
I've got a link to the website. Is it cool if I pull it up on stream? Because I mean, I guess it is public. Yeah, okay, cool.
It's public information.
Yeah.
So, for a lot of these Japanese companies, because they all wanted to expand to the West, they actually needed to hire either bilingual or just monolingual English, like management, right? Because, and we're gonna go into this more in depth, but like, various companies do need English managers, and they just have no idea how to hire them. So Niji-sanji, like Project Kawaii, Vispo, right? This was probably Hololive in the beginning, although they've probably internalized it at this point. Other companies have also done the same thing. They are not the only ones to do this, but people internalize management all the time. And the role of contractors is a little bit murky. So that is context that she completely leaves out, so it just looks ridiculous from Niji-sanji's part, that they're just like, oh, don't talk to this person. So it's just like, how much are you actually leaving in and how much are you actually leaving out?
Yeah, and it's the real question is how much weight can you put on Zion's words? Because while I think it's always good when these documents come out that you
This dismissive fucker.
give benefit of doubt to the person speaking out. Need I say, like, the Me Too movement is obviously the best example of that, I guess, in modern recent history. There is an element of this where I am like, Zion is an unreliable narrator. And Sayu, by proxy, is an unreliable narrator. Where, when Niji-sanji terminated Zion, yes, there was a lot of reasons. It was the laundry list in the kitchen sink, and usually when that happens, people go, oh wow, that's a lot of reasons. They were justified. And while some of them, when you read the dossier, are a bit flimsy and, like, maybe seem a bit off, I look back to the reactions of the Niji-sanji EN livers when Zion was terminated.
Yeah, because they are the accurate, like, they provide the accurate statements, not Zion, because, you know, the majority opinion of talents that were just as vague about the whole situation is much better than Zion's fucking statements about this.
Where
These are more reliable than what Zion is, what Sayu is talking about when it comes to Zion's experience.
the only person who had really nice things
Did you ever consider that maybe the people, like, there's maybe a possibility that the people that were talking about her were assholes themselves? Hasn't that possibility gone through your fucking head?
to say about Zion was Kotoka. The rest of them very much distanced themselves, didn't say many nice things, and then obviously the most iconic clip for me, which was the Finana clip where Finana spoke for 5 minutes on stream about how she tried to help Zion and Zion wasn't willing to accept her help and continued going down the bad path. And that, to me, means a lot more than what this document tries to, I guess, brush away.
taking the sides of more vagueness against other type of vagueness. But you know, he really does fucking like to take sides.
I also would say that it's very telling that Kotoka had the most positive things to say, and yet even Kotoka was just like, well, I think this is as much as I can say.
Yeah. It's a very different...
Well, being neutral.
Yeah, it's a very different situation than what happened in the situation with... Obviously, Yuga Asuma is the one that people drew direct parallels to. But with Zion speaking out for Isayu now, it makes it very different to basically any other VTuber termination before, except for, like, when Rushia was terminated from Hollow Live, and then Mikaneko went live the next day.
I would say this directly mirrors the Rushia situation, where you had her gemmates just be like, I don't even know what to say. I'm so disappointed. I can't say anything.
No, in like, the, in Rushia's termination from Hollow Live, her genmates were actually very supportive of her. Like,
Half-half. Like, Flair refused to talk.
But they did do the video that was, like, the string together, that was, like, very supportive. And they're like, yeah, look, it happened, we're terribly sad, but we had great memories with Russia, yada, yada, yada. Like, they did that stuff. And so it didn't have the same level of venom. I can actually go back.
I wish I went into Finana's drama a lot more when I was covering the Niji-Sanji drama tier list, because there's a lot of shit that Finana has done that there's proof of behind the scenes. And Finana herself isn't very reliable in terms of, you know, providing accurate opinions about certain terms or certain people. So, once again, Ducky here, VTuber journalist, not looking too deep into what the fuck is going on at any color.
Keep talking. I'll go back and actually find, because I read an article about it.
Yeah, because I think when I was watching it, my initial reaction was, wow, for a separation, this is probably the coldest video I've seen since Aloe, essentially.
Yeah.
And it was strange because he was so much closer to everyone than Aloe was. And so with Aloe, like, her gemmates hadn't really even talked to her yet. So I was like, okay, this makes more sense. But when it came to Rushia, I was just like, like, this is a little bit stranger, where Flair, I remember distinctly, just avoided talking about her at all costs. Whereas, like, Pekuro was a lot more sad, and everybody else was somewhere in between.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I just brought up the article, whereas I was like, I think Pekko and Marine did most of the talking compared to Noel and Flair. But even then...
Yeah, both of them are fucking brainlets. They're just basing their emotional responses on, you know, on them providing accurate information about fucking Sayu and Zion. Like, based on the reactions, they think they know everything that happened behind the fucking scenes.
It was nothing like this.
Yeah, no. Like, they were like, you know, it happened. And they even said, like, they tried to help her. And they said, like, here's a quote here from Marine where it said, like...
And I tell you one thing, I'm giving this motherfucker too much attention. He deserves none. This whole fucking show here that they have here, I'm a small fucking YouTuber. I know how stupid that fucking sounds to myself, calling myself a YouTuber and streamer, but these guys are so much smaller than me and so fucking insignificant in what they do. So I'm just doing this as a fucking personal vendetta because I hate how he conducts himself. So be mindful of what I'm saying here. You can take me to task on this anytime. I won't defend myself on this. But I just hate how this fucker conducts himself as someone that shares my profession. I'd fucking slap him in Minecraft if I saw him anywhere near me.
This whole thing grew into something larger than any of us could handle. Which does echo some of the sentiments that happened in Zion's termination as well. But the overall tone of the two conversations was very different. And I don't know whether that's because I read a Japanese translated version of the Gen 3 announcement, and thereby maybe lost a little bit of, like, the localization element of it. But but even then, it still feels wildly different.
Yeah. I do think, though, in a way, like, it's all valid, whereas, like, mine was from the perspective of a fan watching someone talk about their generation, whereas yours was probably a little bit more objective. So both are completely valid reads.
Yeah.
I think what was very shocking about Zion's termination, at least for me, was that, I'm gonna apologize to Vera for this, but, like, when he was speaking in Korean, I was like, oh my gosh, you are very disappointed.
Yeah, it's I remember you mentioning that when that was like happening, because like Ver was like wasn't even that soft spoken or that like was like he was still pretty firm when the announcement dropped, and he said it in English. But then you said like the Korean translation was 10 times harsher.
Yeah,
look,
it was very disappointing.
The one thing
Shall
that
we say?
yeah, and like look, the one thing that we will say to this, and I will say to this because it's semi-relevant to a conversation that I want to have around how reporting of this dossier has been done by other VTuber commentators, is Hannah and I both share a very similar thought on Zion, which is negative. And so when we're reading this document and when we're reflecting on the moments of her termination and what was said in the aftermath, we're probably going to frame it way more negatively. Whether it's logical to frame it that negatively or not is a different question, but we are going to frame it more negatively because our minds, my mind's made up on Zion, and I'm pretty sure Hannah could probably say the same. So we do kind of understand that bias is there, but I also think even like I tried to give this the most clear, objective reading possible on the first read through, and I don't think that I could really take a lot of it. That's
Cool, man. Thank you for the $10. This dude is just a VTuber equivalent of a Kotaku journalist. I think he's worse in some aspects, but yeah. They're all sensationalist fucking retards that dress up their own biases and agenda pushing in this air of civility. And they're completely subjective in what they do.
seriously.
I think there's also just like I'm gonna be frank. So there's a saying in the idol community: the most pain in the ass commentator is the person who used to be a fan and becomes an anti, right?
Yeah.
And like I am that person when it comes to Zion. Like before everything kind of hit the fan, shall we speak, like I was actually really, really big on Zion. I was big on XLA in general, but like Zion was one of my favorites for sure. And to see her crash like this was like very, very disappointing to me.
Yeah.
So I definitely would say like I have a bias in that respect.
I'm kind of surprised that this Ducky retard doesn't have me blocked on Twitter yet, because I keep riding his ass all the fucking time. I know this girl on the right side has me blocked because all of them are associated with Kawa fucking news drop. I now have a fucking sneaking suspicion that all of Kawa fucking VTubers are with agenda pushers. And I wouldn't be fucking surprised if they come up on my account at some point or another.
But I think the other reason why Ducky and I have a bias is because, and leave it
Again, blaming by association, but birds of a feather fucking flock together.
explain this in a Discord as well. Both of us have extensive working knowledge of the entertainment industry in general.
Yes.
Not just in Japan, but just from like a global perspective. Like me working in the American entertainment space.
Very cool, but what does that say about your knowledge of fucking any colors management? One management isn't equivalent to all fucking managements. How does that relate?
And Ducky working in Australia covering global esports, like as a journalist, right? And just streaming in general for Dexerto, both of us have had the opportunity and the pleasure to speak with a lot of managers, and we both personally know a lot of managers working not just as like talent handlers, but both former and current, people who want to go into their just different aspects of it. And so when we're reading the second half, I understand that like from an outside perspective, this looks really bad. But for someone who knows what managers do and what managers have to go through, this to me is not surprising at all.
Yeah. Entertainment management really is a thankless job.
Yeah.
Like, there's no real cutting it two ways. Like, there's a reason why managers have such a high turnover. And it's also a
It's funny that cover can do it just fine, but any color somehow can't do it. Again, they're basing this on their personal experiences with some managerial staffers in other branches of the industry, not necessarily VTubing. But we went through so much of managerial mishaps when it comes to any color. These guys are just basing this on their own biases.
reason why when I first read this, and a lot of people are pointing out, oh, why didn't Niji Sanji give XLA a 2-week-old hire to look after them. I read into that two ways, and it's like, one, well, they're probably just with the company, so you kind of just have to trust their credentials in the first place. Maybe let them fall a little bit, but you just have to trust the process at that point. The second one is, they're a 2-week-old hire, but what if they had experience at another agency? What if they were doing stuff at a...
Let me clue you in on a few things when it comes to managing talents that are in entertainment. You have to make sure that the managers learn more about their talents before actually getting work with them. A 2-week-old hire, how much would they learn about the talents that they're managing in those 2 weeks? Even in agencies that are small, like in Face Connect, you can hear stories about them saying that, you know, the VTubers that they hire for new generations, they sit together with their managers and other talents in the same Discord for months without end to get to know one another, you know, to build some chemistry, to know what they're on about, and, you know, to conduct themselves in a professional manner. Well, in a limited fashion when it comes to Face Connect, but they're their own thing at this point. But these managers that manage these talents, they need to get to know their VTubers. What the fuck would a 2-week-old hire be able to do in those few weeks that they get to know them? Like, what the fuck would they be able to do? Before the debut, they need to get to know one another, so they know what each one of them is on about before they get into that. So running defense for this kind of practice is just ridiculous, what they're doing right here.
Like a more boutique talent agency, or doing stuff outside of the streaming world, or still doing like the things that a talent manager does, where, you know, you're organizing deals, you're making sure that everyone knows what's going on within the company, you're making sure that there's that nice clear discourse between, you know, the expectations and then the output. And that's a very, very, very gross simplification of what a manager actually does, because in reality, a manager is basically the god of some of these people in terms of making sure and pushing things over the line.
No. It's not like that at all, and it varies from agency to agency as well. It's not a thing that's, you know, unique to VTubers and other talent agencies, you know, that deal with entertainers. This all varies between the places. So just making broad statements about things they know nothing about, because they just can't fathom that what Sayu said with her experience as Zion is accurate. They just want her to be fucking wrong because that's the side they're fucking chosen. So they're now making up fucking arguments to justify what they're saying right here. That's what the fuck they're doing. This is more of this agenda pushing, just a different facade of it.
Depending on the level of management that is offered. But there is nothing surprising about a 2-week-old hire looking after a generation which is just about to debut. Sure, it's
bullshit.
Shit to lose your manager that you had built a rapport with.
Bullshit.
But it's nothing new in the corporate space, and it's definitely nothing new in entertainment. And then following on from that, when reaching out to a manager, the old manager that Zion like claims that has happened here, is not necessarily a bad thing, but if they are contracted out at an agency like Everest, which is their website here, and you can see very clearly that they're VTuber partners with...
I'm starting to hate Australians, but then I'll go watch Ria after this when she streams next, and all of that will be forgotten. But this motherfucker, no, I'm not forgiving this. I'm gonna be petty and vindicative towards this motherfucker. As long as he has journalist next to his name, I'm not gonna leave him be. I'm gonna be as petty as I can be. I'll go after every facet of his work, deconstructing everything that he does, making sure he remembers his fucking mistakes. Again, you can take me to task on this because I'm not backing down from this. This motherfucker is just getting on my nerves.
Niji Sanji. We're obviously extrapolating a bit of detail here, but if that's a logical step, then Niji Sanji would rightfully get a little bit annoyed about it, because it would be a employee of Niji Sanji spilling the beans of internal workings to a contractor who is not meant to be privy to that information.
Yeah, and that's where things get a little bit dicey, but I would also say, just in general, people would be very, very surprised at how desperate talent agencies really get for bodies, because, so you think
one of the biggest VTuber agencies out there is fucking desperate for managers. You're gonna be telling me that a company this fucking huge with hundreds of millions of dollars in fucking turnover is not able to hire proper managers for their supposed cash cows that are upcoming. You're telling me that they're gonna have problems with that because the whole industry has problems with that. I do wonder how fucking Cover manages it, and how whenever like EN talents are talking about their managers, they're talking about them in a very positive way. Not only EN managers, the JP managers themselves also become their own personalities because of how good they are to their talents, and they basically all are on friendly terms. Like, why can Cover do this, and why can't any color do this, and why are you trying to run defense for any color in this fucking situation? I don't fucking get it. Like, why are you trying to justify a shitty company having shitty practices? I don't understand this.
That most corporate jobs are terrible, and then you get into the talent management stage. And that is where it crosses a line from just like, wow, my job is soul crushing, to wow, I actually like want to unalive myself. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. It is the seventh layer of hell at times. And well beyond that.
I would say ninth.
Yeah, like, it is like... I mean, I can draw comparisons to my own professional life without digging into too much detail of being dragged out of a role that I enjoyed in my current job to go and do, not talent management, but in my line of work, a very similar role, and it being the most soul-crushing experience across 4 weeks. Like, I did my job, and I was happy for the experiences that I gained from it, but it was soul-crushing. And talent management is the entertainment equivalent of what I did. And, well, the normie equivalent of what I did. So...
Oh, I want shit on the guy in terms of how many articles he's written for Dexerto, because he's written fucking hundreds. But when I was looking through, the catalog of his work, it's mostly shit that other people already know, and stuff that can be regurgitated from Reddit fucking posts, like updates on video games or patch notes, shit like that. He has a lot of articles on Dexerto that deal with that. Or, VTuber news. When we're done with talking about Ducky, I'll tell you why VTuber news, the way Ducky does it, doesn't work. And why like people like False Kyo get so much more attention than this motherfucker does.
Yeah, managers don't get enough.
Yeah, he sources Reddit, and you're joking about this, but it really is. Dexerto has a lot of the articles just sourced to fucking Reddit. And not just from this guy, like other writers for Dexerto do it too.
Exact. And that's a bit of a side point to the whole like story here in terms of like what's actually in this document, because it is a very extensive document. Some of it goes into a lot of detail. Some of it is missing some very key context. Ultimately, this document was made by oh my god, Rainy. Oh my god, Rainy. Hello, Rainy. Thank you so much for the 24 viewer raid. I hope your stream was great. I think, oh my god, just so many things happening. For me, like with the Zion, this document, there's so many different little things that have happened that you kind of just have to take each section and break it down one by one and being like, how believable is this story? How believable is this section? Yeah. And it's like, when you get to the end of it and you logically try to think it through, I cannot help but not believe 80% of it.
Dumbass.
And I would say, like, even if I took everything at face value, right?
And you don't have to take anything at face value, you just have to do research into how talents within Nijisanji itself refer to their managers, and how often are the managers actually at fault? How much is any color at fault when it comes to things happening to their fucking talents? And you find that any color, Nijisanji in general, is guilty about that a lot of times. Just need to watch my stream about it too, because there's so many cases of just mismanagement from them.
So one of the things that I would stress a lot is just the fact that, like, in entertainment, and this is actually something that I've noticed across the board, just covering entertainment in general, the responsibilities of a manager and the day-to-day changes that they just have to deal with are so complex and literally change on a minute-to-minute basis.
Yeah.
Now running defense for bad managers because oh, their job is so hard and so complicated.
Where there are situations where you can have permission to do something one day, and then the next day it would be completely revoked.
Yep.
Right? Like that's like a very, very good example.
And that's what
Another
happened.
example-
That's what happened with the Genshin streams here. Which, by the way, I still cannot
Exactly.
still cannot believe there are screenshots from the Nijisanji's like in this and a private graduation notice. That was sent to Zion. I still can't believe those are publicly available. I don't know why they are in this document, but they are. So there you go. There's one of them.
Oh gosh. Like I just hope she has a lawyer.
I mean,
hope she has a lawyer.
does stop throughout the statement that, you know, some things have been omitted due to legal reasons, so we'll have to kind of wait and see what comes out of that. I've got a couple more questions,
Okay.
like, that we can probably spitball before we move on to the next topic. Does a document like this, I guess, like, give other graduated / terminated VTubers more confidence to come forward with their own experiences in agencies if they have been negative? Because I don't think it does.
Don't know. I actually really don't know.
I don't think it does because for the wider space, this isn't like this entire situation was an anomaly, and it's very hard to see it being replicated on a regular basis. People get
Yeah.
terminated, sure, but I don't expect, for example, I don't expect Fura Yuri to come out in a month's time and explain all the intricate problems that they had with Face Connect. Like that
yeah.
as like a recent termination example from a relatively
Because maybe she hadn't had that many problems. Consider that.
big agency. Obviously, we're talking about different scales.
Ocean?
Yeah, Oshano Toshi from
Yeah, Fura Yuri.
Production Kawaii. This is just a Zion specific problem. Like this is literally just a Zion thing, and it just hurts my brain.
Former face Connect invader.
This statement did not need to be made. There is no point in history or where like something has been made like this and it ending well. Just no point in internet history has that happened before. And the thing that gets me about this in particular is everyone had moved on. No one actually cared. And like Zion was just a relic of the past and people just accepted the fact that, you know, she did a few dumb things and maybe
No one cared? Oh, what about the fucking doxing of hers? What about people rallying against her on fucking Twitter for weeks after her fucking termination? She's not any fucking relic. People were fucking going after her after that. You would fucking know this if you research into it, you fucking dumbass.
the statement was a little bit blown like out of proportion, but they like it was still, you could justify it. And by making this statement, it kind of rips the band-aid off and lets the scab like bleed again. But except this time the scab is
It
now
doesn't
like
even
a
lance
it's like
the
a
wound. It like deepens it.
yeah, no, it just makes it a gash. Like it's just like an absolute stab mark. And yeah, I don't know. And then it just makes things so much more complicated than they needed to be. And I would honestly have a lot more respect for Sion if they went and tried to tackle this behind closed doors and not make it public, because there is nothing in this document that needed to be made public.
Retard.
Outside.
It shows exactly. It's a warning sign of what you're getting into if you would like to go and become a Niji-sanji fucking creator. I thought, you know, journalists were all about being fucking whistleblowers and exposing this kind of fucking behavior from big companies, but I guess fucking journalists nowadays are just fucking bootlickers for companies that like to push certain fucking agendas that align with their own. Fucking embarrassing.
Side of drama baiting and sympathy baiting. Like
I do.
He's fucking criticizing sympathy baiting when he wrote a whole fucking article about fucking dismissing people's bullying and harassment, and went, oh, what about these poor fucking trans activists and shit.
I do think
He's the one to talk about fucking sympathy baiting here.
this actually could make the status of like working for Japanese companies
Disingenuous shit.
like, I think it's gonna exacerbate an already existing issue because she did end on stuff about her cat.
She did, yeah, Rainy, she did.
Yeah, but like the issue is that middle section where she talks about management and basically like trash talks management for a good 10 pages, that is going to actually make any talent manager who possibly wanted to get into that space is now gonna be like, do I really want to work for these people? Not
Oh no, not the poor fucking talent managers working for a shitty company. Oh, think about them. And not about the talents being abused in these fucking companies. Think of those for. Don't think of those first.
just Niji Sanji. I mean, like
Poor
VTubers in
managers.
general.
Yeah, will I become a VTuber manager? Do I want to
Yeah.
become a VTuber manager? That is like the question that comes from here. Yeah, I don't know why my ads are running so frequently, by the way, because I have definitely not been... my ad rate is not that high, usually. It's usually 1 minute of ads an hour. So I don't know why it's been 2 ads in 37
Twitch!
minutes. Nice one,
Twitch,
Twitch. Thank you, Twitch. Yeah. It does sour the landscape for everyone. Like, the discourse that has come out the back of that is like, oh, who would want to be an agency VTuber now? And it's like, look, yeah, fair, but that question
Wouldn't want to be a Niji Sanji fucking VTuber with all of the shit that's been revealed about them in fucking recent days and months.
wasn't necessarily an old one. Like, agencies
Yeah.
had offered something previously, and the product that they offered was very clear. And this is the product that was offered to Zion, was fundamentally no different that was offered to any other Niji Sanji liber. Zion just decided to
Or
not
even,
abide by
like,
the rules. And this is
any of the Hololive ones.
yeah, this is literally just the consequences of the actions, in my eyes. I'm just reading a document
Yeah.
that outlines the consequences of the actions. And Zion and Sayu admit that is the case. Like, there is like a section here. Zion agrees with the decision. She did make mistakes and agreed that separation was appropriate for both sides. Does contest the facts that maybe she was defamed in the announcement, which maybe, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of weak. But yeah, it's just a landmine. And the one thing I think we can sign off about this, because we've been harping on about it for half an hour now, and I think that's half an hour too much analysis for something that really...
One of the biggest happenings in EN VTubing ever, and they're just gonna dismiss it as a nothing burger. What kind of journalist are you? You would at least have some sense to investigate this further. You could even reach out to Sayu on your own. You're a fucking journalist. Why didn't you do that? Why didn't you do that? Why are you here sitting and questioning what she said here? Why don't you reach out? Did you reach out? Because you're not saying that you did.
Like,
Should've ended a long time ago.
we shouldn't be talking about this right now. This should not be public
Yeah.
information. Full stop.
No, don't whistleblow. Everything's already in fucking any color and Niji Sanji. Never say anything. Always lick those boots. Shine them fucking clean.
This should not be public information. But what I
Disgusting motherfucker. What kind of journalist are you?
do want to stress is, and kind of highlight, is this is a very good litmus test for, like, VTuber commentators and how VTuber commentators approach things. And what I have noticed is there's the VTuber commentators that you can think of have reported on it, obviously, and they've given the statement. Basically, all the reports are just them reading the statement with very little analysis. And that's fine. They don't proclaim to be journalists, and that's fine, and maybe I'm wrong.
You stupid fucking shit. Yeah, at least they covered in a neutral way instead of doing this fucking running defense for a corpo like you are without questioning anything.
For holding them to journalistic standards because of the content they make. But people are really giving this document too much breeding ground to breed anti-corporate sentiment. And they're
Oh no, not the anti-corporate fucking sentiment, no. You can't hold a fucking huge company to higher standards.
really trying to make it seem like everything in this document is facts, when in reality, the truth most definitely lies somewhere between Niji Sanji's statement and Zion's. And I personally would lean more to the Niji Sanji statement, off the fact that we already know that Zion is an unreliable narrator. And we know that there already...
You make her unreliable because you decided to take the fucking side of even more other unreliable fucking narrators, which are her fucking genmates. And just because there's more of them doesn't mean their opinions are more valid than hers are. The fact of the matter is that we don't know the whole truth, but there's evidence everywhere that there's incompetence going on within fucking any color. But you can fucking dismiss it because you have a chip on your shoulder against Zion for whatever reason. The same way I have a fucking chip on my shoulder against what you fucking do.
holes in her story, and it's just simply I don't believe her, and that is it's a harsh thing to say.
I'm mad on the internet, chat. I'm genuinely mad here.
but it's true. But all the reports just framing everything as like fact, or at least more factual than Nijisanji's statement, is a little bit disappointing in my eyes.
I think for me, like personally just speaking, nothing in this document was particularly new or shocking. Like, one person was like, I don't understand why she had to finance everything for her debut. And literally go back, watch every single top tier corporation debut, whether we're talking about like Hololive, Holostars, like any of the Nijisanjis, right?
Yeah.
And it is very, very clear from the get-go that everybody was just weighing how much can I earn in the first month versus how much am I going to front the cost right now, right? Like, this is not new to us. The fact that they are super understaffed, that is old news, right? So I'm just like, why are you bringing this out?
Yeah. Let it be known that despite us, talking down on Zion's statement, there are inherent flaws with Nijisanji's management that were well public and well documented well before this event. Sorry.
Then why are you so dismissive if you know something about it?
So, a lot of this information, some of it isn't that groundbreaking, but people are packaging it up as groundbreaking because, oh, look, a talent said it. Well, no. This has already been said by talents on the stream before some of this stuff, so it's not necessarily surprising information. Sure, you can claim it's not best practice, and it would be better if talents had a budget for debut, or Nijisanji chipped in more, or, they didn't have their manager stripped away from them that they had built rapport with just before they go on debut. Like, you can claim all of those things, but it's not exactly new information, and it's not exactly groundbreaking if you have even 1 month of experience in a corporate environment.
Yeah.
This
like,
argument again.
Fundamentally, okay, so they needed to switch over to a new manager. New manager switches, very, very common in talent spaces. And it's just like, okay, well, you cannot have one person in charge of 16 people. Like, hard stop, right? Because that was a constraint that they were working with.
Yeah.
You really, like, that person who is dealing with 16 people is going to burn out, right? And that person is well known to be, like, a pretty good manager, if the rumors are true. So it's just kind of a, I don't understand why, like, this is shocking to you. Of course they're going to go out and try to find someone new. It's just kind of a, like, if you follow entertainment enough, this problem just comes up over and over and over again.
Well, Sayu's fucking moderator reached out to me, so I could get her the evidence of people doxing Zion and spreading that misinformation. I don't know if that was done on Sayu's behalf, but it was at least done, it was at least done by one of her main moderators on her Discord.
Yeah.
If it was done on Sayu's behalf or not, I'm not sure. But either way, I was asked to deliver that information, and I did.
I think that about wraps it up. Like, there's not much that we can really say outside of the fact that it's interesting that we get to see this document. I don't think we should be seeing it. I think it's a massive mistake that it's been...
It's a mistake to reveal that fucking... I'm getting mad again. It's a mistake to reveal that the corporate fucking entity may be doing some shit behind the fucking behind the scene. It's a mistake to be a whistleblower.
Released, but now that it's done, it's gonna be interesting where things go from here. There's a lot of people talking about legal challenges and all that kind of stuff, and I think that's a little bit of hot air right now.
Especially since it seems like she cross-referenced it with everyone, and like there's a joke among Nijisanji fans that Nijisanji managers love putting out statements Friday
4 p.m. JST.
Yes, because that's when they leave the office.
Nobody pays them because they're nobodies. Kawa, News Drop, and this guy are nobodies. This guy has like, I don't know, 80 subscribers on YouTube. And I don't know how many on Twitch. They're both nobodies.
Yeah. It's a classic. It's an old classic.
Yeah, because like, in investment banking, we used to call it the 4 p.m. firebomb. But fundamentally, like, your MD's on the way out. So they're just like, fuck you. Here's your 4 p.m. firebomb, and have a great weekend. And you're just like, fuck.
Well, in my line of work, it's like, we do it so that we don't have to think about it on Monday morning. So that's why we get everything out. That's why we get everything out on a Friday afternoon or a Friday after.
I'd like to get money to be as bad as at my job as this fucking guy, and then just go
lunch, because we're like, we don't want to think about this on Monday. We want you to think about it over the weekend. Like, we don't want to have to deal with any of that, so we're gonna send it to you at 3 p.m. on a Friday. Hope you have fun. So yeah, that's the kind of vibe that I get.
Oh yeah, that's them.
Yeah. So yeah, anyways, that's kind of what's in the dossier. If you haven't read it yet, or if you want to read it, you can. It's on Sayo Okami's Twitter, who is now rebranded to Synchronicity. Alternatively, you can read my article on it. I've gone through and written an explainer.
Nobody reads that shit. Fuck you.
Which really gets, I like to think, most of the
Only I do to make these streams about you, your content.
talking points out without much of the fluff around the rest of the argument.
Yeah. It's
so-
a really, really good summary.
Yeah, so, for that being said, let's move to the second set of terminations.
Well, this is mutual
no.
separation.
We're done with this. This was only about the fucking dismissiveness of these two assholes about Sayu Zion situation. And I still have some miscellaneous stuff to go through. But that's gonna be very brief. So hold up. We're not gonna go through the VShoujo stuff because they don't provide anything interesting about VShoujo. I just wanted to show you what kind of arguments they constructed about Sayu/Zion and that whole document. It just shows what kind of brand of journalism both of them are involved with. That's why this stream is called the fucking absolute state of VTuber journalism. It's disgusting. But yeah, miscellaneous stuff. And before I go through with this one, let me tell you what kind of journalism Dexerto is involved with. Right now, if I go to Dexerto's Twitter, I'll read you some headlines of the articles and tell me what hard-hitting journalism this is. It's a Twitter account with almost 500,000 fucking followers, and they have articles like Aiden Ross under fire saying racial slur on stream. Hassan's reaction to new Metal Gear Solid game. YouTuber at Air Attack got Mr. Beast arrested and put in jail for a prank. What else is there? Other than some fucking nonsense that all other gaming websites put out. But a lot of this is just sensationalist nonsense. Like, TikTok prankster known as Mizzy has been sentenced to a criminal behavior order after trespassing into strangers' homes. Streamer denied Twitch partner 23 times. Joey Swole has called out Chelsea footballer Murdick for posting a gym video appearing to mock another member. Hard-hitting fucking journalism right there. I had puke on my face. Taylor Swift fan missed concert because someone puked on her face. Security wouldn't help. This is a tabloid. This is no better than what fucking BuzzFeed was. It's a tabloid fucking magazine, and this guy was a part of it. Now he's a freelancer, but he used to write for this fucking rag. And what you're seeing on screen right now is something that Dexerto put out. Ducky didn't put this out himself, but this is what they put out. Most watched streamers on YouTube. Akora-chan. There's just fucking Ayama there. Miko-chan, which is supposed to be fucking Miko, but it's the fucking Miko from the anime with the fucking girl that sees Mieruko. I think that's the anime. Yeah, it's Mieruko. And this is what they put on their fucking Twitter as most watched streamers and on YouTube. This is the level that Dexerto shows in their research. And that guy wrote for that rag. That anime is fun, Miracle is fun, but I think the manga is better in showcasing the monsters. And here we have some miscellaneous stuff that Ducky was involved with. Here's Pippa being confused about another VTuber's statement. Corporate VTubing agencies are kinda dying because they don't know how to adapt their image to the times and produce news. I already haven't heard anything about Niji-sanji in whole life for months. Someone please explain. I talked about this post too. Well, dear Nami Miyahara, maybe you aren't a fucking fan of Niji-sanji in whole life VTubers. Maybe you would fucking know something if you watched them. It's not about fucking news. And I'll tell you something about fucking VTuber news after we're done with this. But yeah. To save myself copy-pasting because I was interacting in that thread before, it got a bit derailed. In the last few months, there's been some big news, especially from Niji-sanji, Yugo, Suma Graduation, XLA debut, the joint statement of defamation between Any Color and Cover. These were all official releases. But it would be nice to have a little access to tell stories. My perspective is always a bit different from most. I think it's wrong to say there's been no news, but I always believe there can be more and these agencies are harder to contact. It's why a lot of my features focus on Bishoujo indies because, well, I can talk to them. Well, my guy, if you didn't write fucking articles about their VTuber saying fucking the word retard and making a huge deal out of it, maybe you would have an insight to them. But as far as these things go, you are nobody. They have their own ways of notifying their fans about the news inside their own fucking agencies, and you are a third man that's not needed in this equation. You are a third party that's unneeded. What you're doing is useless. It's for your own fucking benefit. You're not informing fucking anybody of anything interesting because the fucking fans. The fans themselves are able to get all that information just by watching their fucking VTubers. You're basically useless. Yeah, it's an apples to oranges comparison in terms of support / context, but when you look at the raw article content and how that was received, it was positive. There's Hololive / Niji talents doing interviews for JP. There's no reason why they couldn't do for Yen, in my opinion. Not by fucking rags that shit on them. They would never do that, because these companies care about the reputation of their VTubers. Do you think they would come to a fucking rag that wrote an article about their VTuber saying the word retard? And then you being a part of that fucking campaign to harass her, basically? I don't fucking think so. And here's Kiara reacting to that picture I showed you where they misidentified the VTubers in the Twitter post. You know, that one with Miko-chan and Pekora-chan. She's fucking laughing at them, and here's him hurting about it. I won't lie, this hurts a little bit. It just pains me when I see people respect people. I see people I respect in the space get dunk on it. They have every right to do so. It's only the attacks that follow from some that have me feeling. Sad emoji. And here's him interacting with who is essentially a harasser and a person that gets into all kinds of drama. Personally, Tessa is someone I've dealt with before. Before she was known as Raiken. In the VTubing space, she's known after having gone after PewDiePie when he became a VTuber for a joke. But to me, she's mostly known as someone that defends an actual sex predator. She knows that person is a sex predator, but she still defends them. And I have tweets about that too. And here's him basically, you know, being all buddy-buddy with her. It's because it's a good take. Why I didn't get yelled at for this? Is Twitter okay? And here's him retweeting her. Again, I know this guilt by association shit that a lot of people do, that I cover. But again, these people are way too close to one another. And they're all weird fucking shitters. And I don't think this is coincidental. What exactly are you postulating here, though? Allowing small-time journal access to cover stories about Hololive and Niji-sanji isn't going to benefit them in any major way. They already have massive audiences in major social media hubs. You would add near nothing, as I was saying before I went on this other tirade. Trying not to sound entitled, but Dexerto is big in the Western gaming and streaming space. no one knows about you despite your fucking quote-unquote viewership. You're a fucking tabloid. Why would these people reach out to shitty tabloid? I might be a small journalist on Twitter, but we reach 100 plus million people each month through socials and our articles. Many of them who don't follow VTubing. I think that's a healthy addition. No, because you're a rag. You're a rag. No one wants to be associated with a rag. Once again, writing articles that the VTuber said the word retard. Without revealing too much, the door is slightly ajar to opportunities with these agencies, but not wide open. That's totally okay. I'm not entitled to everything. To say I add near nothing isn't true when you look at how HoloLive's Crunchyroll interviews were received. Yeah, but you aren't fucking Crunchyroll, and Crunchyroll is fucking sponsored with all of them. Crunchyroll's had absolutely massive partnership with HoloLive at their expo last year. Most of the expo was dedicated to the group, ergo the interviews were rolled up into that package and were massively advertised across social media hubs. So yeah, again, you're a third party that's not necessary in this. Again, this is one of those deflection of his that we talked about already with the supposed trans VTuber suicide that turned out to be a hoax. This one fucking. This one hurts me. This one is like being stabbed in the fucking head. I might do a series on ethics online and reporting soon. It's something I believe strongly in. I hope to educate people about my own work process and how I see the media landscape. First episode will likely be on the principle of minimizing harm in reporting. Do you guys see how fucking ironic this is? This guy purports that he follows ethics in journalism and he minimized harm. This motherfucker dares to say all of this shit. Do you see that one quote retweet here? This is fucking me. I got so mad at this, I had to fucking call him out again. And once again, I will do it every single time he dares to open his mouth in such a fashion. Because he's everything that's wrong with fucking VTuber journalism and journalism in fucking general. This guy fucking dares to have such a huge fucking opinion of himself and his work. God. I want to slap him so bad in Minecraft. You guys don't even fucking know. Here's him retweeting more of his agenda pushing shit about Pikami's graduation. Pikami is graduating. Being a trans VTuber is about to get a lot worse, as trans folks will blame trans people for this. There are just 4 random examples I found. It's already begun. Be safe, y'all. It's all about to get a lot worse. Here's him being in contact with... do you remember that sex predator I was talking about? Well, that's gonna be him. I'm not talking about False, it's just the person replying to him. False's coverage is good, but I'm disappointed he's highlighted this topic of our streamer awards as a leading story. It's a small detail that means a lot to continue uplifting the space. I get drama gets views, but so does praise. This is slam dunk of the century for that. You know, the streamer awards that nobody actually knew anything about in the VTubing space until it was mentioned that, you know, that there are several popular VTuber nominees in them. Nobody fucking gives a fuck about those, and this guy is essentially butthurt that, you know, False, someone a lot more popular than him, isn't mentioning that. Because, you know, he wants to push his own fucking shit. And he's fucking disappointed. And here's Eden Diesel, also known as Pixis Chi. This is a sex predator, not alleged one, self-admitted one. I fucking don't understand how he, she, it, I don't know. They have a story of fucking faking identity to fucking get ahead. And actually, one way they were a sex predator is that they solicited nudes from a person pretending to be asexual. So whether they're trans or whatever else, I can believe with some evidence that they may be faking it for attention. But either way, this is Diesel Pixis Chi, which is a fucking sex predator. And all of that is documented on my Twitter too, so you guys can look it up. This is not something I'm making up. I'm gonna be honest. I do not enjoy his content. I used to, but with time went in things just got more negative and only getting certain side of the story. The fact that he's posted such heavy topic for a video and turned comments of it is iffy to me as well. I don't know how this fucking person still exists in an online space with everything that they have done. Comments are on for YouTube at least. I think there's an assumption negative VTubers news would also have performed better, but my analytics prove otherwise. It might be a difference of medium YouTube versus print, though there's some room for positive stories though, and this is one. And here's him praising Mavis, the anti-fucking white racist. Mavis is a creator I immensely respect for speaking up to these issues and trying to create a safest space possible for themselves first and their viewers. Also known for trying to deplatform people on Twitch. I would be ashamed to lose a voice like theirs. They deserve to be treated with humanity and respect. They deserve to be fucking hit with a stick, as far as I'm concerned. Pikami's graduation is devastating. Yes, the kettle was mighty fine and cute, but the amount of thinly veiled transphobia in light of this news I've seen is disgusting. I can guarantee based on the wording, HL wasn't the only reason she graduated, or even the primary one. With almost everything being nuked, there's a chance she could be going to another agency, using this as a vessel to say we'll murder trans people. There's so much of this. Yeah, sure there is. I've seen, like, again, not minimizing how much trolling these fucking people do, but there was an overwhelming harassment going the other fucking way instead. It is wrong. Pikami would want that. I'm disappointed for her graduation and the reaction. While some trans VTubers are speaking out on the graduations, many are covering in fear. From one big name graduation, I've already seen dozens of tweets from trans VTubers saying they might too, because they can't deal with the harassment. Support them like you would Pikami. Or how about I fucking support who I want to support instead of pushing agendas? How about that? And here's basically how... here's some evidence from 4 years ago, but still it continues until this day of how Dexerto does its shit online. Dexerto made an article of my electric room of the video. I'm having mixed feelings because they didn't say my name in the article, but they did show my video after like 7 ads. Should I let it go or ask for name credit on the article? So yeah, fantastic journalism back a few years ago too. It kind of feels like that site, and particularly their site, Apex Legend News, Titanfall blog, Twitter account is basically just 90% reposts from the sub, but written out in article form. It's pretty funny when I click the link on Twitter, "You're welcome for the ad revenue," 10 times, and out of 10 I'll scroll down in the article and find a link to the Reddit user XYZ who discovered this. I just imagine they scrolled this sub, and the moment a post gets traction, here they're just like, "Write an article about this Reddit post fast, guys, we got more content." So yeah, that's partially how they fucking conduct themselves, and this continues until this day, with articles about fucking drama and sensational bullshit. So there you go. There you have it. This is Ducky's career up to this point in fucking VTubing. He's a shitlord. He shouldn't be calling himself a journalist, and he fucking dares to proclaim himself one and even make a fucking stream about journalistic fucking ethics. Like, out of my fucking ass. If he does that, I'm gonna go there live. I'm gonna stream snipe him if he fucking does that. It's Australian time, so it might be on the weird fucking time, but if he does do that, if he does have a stream about fucking ethics, I'm gonna be fucking there. And I'm gonna be fucking railing him about everything that he has done until this point. He fucking dares to say that he has fucking ethics. Like, be for fucking real with me. But yeah, I'm mad, and we went through everything. And to unmad, I would probably have to end the fucking stream at this point. But yeah, let me catch up on some of you guys chatting here. And I got one Streamlabs thing which I should read. So hold up, and I didn't read that one. Where's that message that I got? I got a 5 from Super Iron Bob. I didn't remember what message he attached there. So hold up. Streamlabs is iffy like that. And there's a lot of messages in it that I have to read too. Yeah, let me catch up on the chat as well as I'm doing that. Today I will start a fire to demonstrate how fire is bad. Yeah, that's what this guy does, especially with the Kotoka situation. Imagine Sayu needing a Ducky to release her Google Doc. I'm quite sure Sayu is not even aware what he had to say about her during that stream that he did. So, you know, it is what it is. But I don't think anyone would want to be in contact with him after that sort of stuff. I don't think he's aware enough to understand that once you essentially shit talk a VTuber from a specific company, the doors to them are essentially closed to you forever. I doubt he has that much awareness to realize that. This woman sounds like a battered housewife, LMAO. Gotta love how the journalist did a worse job covering the design situation than the other news tubers he tries to dismiss. At least they covered it, you know, in a fashion that didn't go in depth and in showing their opinions too much in there. At least they showed, you know, yeah, this happened, go check it out for yourselves. At least that level of, you know, informing people is fine. But the way this guy does stuff is just it's not journalism, it's just like agenda pushing and, you know, him pushing his own opinions. Should have been a fucking drama channel instead of being instead of proclaiming himself to be a journalist. At least modern journalists do that for exclusive access. They're shitting for a company for apparently no gain. Yeah, they're just doing this because they don't agree with Sayu/Zion, and their arguments that they made during that stream are fucking ridiculous. Just essential bootlicking for a company they get nothing from, or maybe they want to, or maybe they want an inside with them by doing that. Oh, maybe if you shit talk your former employee that's shit talking you, maybe we get something out of it down the line. Who the fuck knows? This Kawa news drop thing is its own fucking entity that gets no fucking attention anyway. I don't even know how they rank, I didn't check. I'll do it after this stream. But I don't think they get much attention whatsoever. Kuri, please do a turn down series if Ducky goes through with it. If he does, I gladly do that. As I said, I'll even stream snipe him if that's the case. To go over one by one the things that he's saying and just throw the shit that he's done in his face and see if he can defend himself when that's presented to him directly, because I do want to know how he can justify himself being a journalist and breaking all of these fucking very simple ethical rules. Because to summarize, he's not accurate in his reporting, he's biased in this reporting, which removes the objectivity part of it. And lastly, he's fucking agenda pushing. That's part of the lack of objectivity. He's not being truthful about the things he presents. He makes up his own arguments, and when he does try to do research, he does it wrongly. Coming to conclusions that are illogical and contradict the evidence that he himself has looked at. So he's essentially dumb, is what I'm trying to say. He doesn't do it in a very smart fashion. I wish he at least took some inspiration out of, Pulse and Kyo aren't journalists, but at least they're doing the minimal journalistic work of reporting on things that are going on. He should do that and just not do the other stuff that he's doing right now. Because this agenda pushing will not earn him any fucking favors in this community. Because people hate the shit that he's doing. Maybe Niji-Sanji fans will suck his fucking dick for this, because a lot of Niji-Sanji fucking fans have similar fucking opinions to this fucking guy. But other fans, Hololive, all that stuff, PC fans and other smaller agencies are not gonna stand for this. I know Pippa follows him, but Pippa follows like a lot of people that have things of interest to say. So again, I'm gonna police whoever who follows whom on fucking Twitter. If she finds something interesting about him, then I guess there's something interesting about him. Who fucking cares who she follows in this case? But again, this guy surrounds himself with very unsavory fucking types. And that's worrisome to me. There's too many fucking abusers surrounding him, and he seems to be friends with many of them too, which is its own fucking problem. A part that I found funny is him saying he may not have just 2 months of experience in managing. However, Zion said that every time that she would talk to him, he would add his own manager. Yeah, that was part of it that was weird to me too. That manager talking to his own fucking wrangler. Again, it shows that the management structure is just all over the fucking place, and it's like nobody knows what the other person is doing. So it's a whole fucking mess within that company. But again, we did a whole fucking stream on Niji-Sanji drama, and I'm sure there's gonna be more of it because this company can stay out of stupid shit. And I see my friend, my best friend on Discord is messaging me reveals from the PlayStation showcase. The Talos Principle 2. I love Talos Principle 1. Dragon's Dogma 2. Love Dragon's Dogma 1. Alan Wake 2. Loved Alan Wake 1. And all of these games are gonna be on PS5 exclusive. I hope they're gonna come to PC, because I'm not buying a fucking no games console for this. Even though I want to play all of these free games. But yeah. You guys should go watch the PlayStation thing and find out what no games they have announced. It seems that at least they had something this time around. Yeah, Dragon's Dogma 2 is exciting. It looks like to be like a PS5 exclusive, which I'm not surprised about. I just hope it comes to PC at one point. I don't like buying fucking consoles for singular games. Which I might still do for like Final Fantasy 16, but there were still rumors that it's gonna come out on PC anyway. I hope it does, but then again, my impatience may get the better of me, and I wouldn't want to wait like a year before it actually does come to PC. Yeah, I do hope that it's gonna be PC ports eventually, and it's not gonna be just exclusives forever. Again, don't want a console for fucking one game. Epic Game Store. Oof, 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 oof. I just might abstain if it comes to Epic Game Store. Yeah, it all depends. I mean, Capcom has had good PC ports. They had good PC versions in the last few years, so I'm not worried about those at least. For Dragon's Dogma 2, I would believe that they would release a good PC port of it. I wouldn't be too worried about them nowadays. That's why they call them Cap Gods in the last few years, because they've been releasing so many bangers. But yeah, this is not VTubing. This is video games. I'm not a video game. I'm not a video game commentator, even though I have a lot to say about video games. And I don't think people came here for my opinions about video games. So since we went through all of that, and the stream has lasted for like 3 hours and 30 minutes already, I think I'm about to end. I might have a stream tomorrow or the day after. I want to cover Retard Gate. I want to show you guys some of the most ridiculous shit out of the whole situation with Weibei, Silver, and Nyanners, because that shit is funny as fuck, especially with all the virtue signaling that nobody VTubers are doing with this situation. There has been so much funny shit surrounding it, and they'll never let it go now. Every time Silver, Wei, and Nyanners will be brought up from this point outwards, they will point to this, and they will just essentially shit themselves all over Twitter. And I do find it really fucking funny that it involves Nyanners too, because Nyanners has been, you know, she's been trying to clean up her act for many years now, like, you know, separate herself from certain places and certain behaviors, and now that all of that is just gonna fucking come back, even though it's not just really justified. She was just sitting there in the stream, essentially defending her friend from a bunch of weirdos that got offended over a word that wasn't even directed at them. So I don't know what Nyanners is gonna do now. Will Nyanners become quote-unquote based again? Or will Nyanners just do whatever she's been doing and just not acknowledge it from this point onward? I don't know. But the Twitter freaks, they will try to rake all of them from this point onward. So it's gonna be pretty fucking funny. I know Weibei doesn't give a fuck. Weibei even goes to the people that go after her and basically insults them, which is pretty fucking funny. Because a lot of these big creators don't usually interact with the smaller dudes. They just give them the time of the day, but she will go the extra mile to shit on them, which is extremely funny to me. Because they think they can essentially shit on somebody without any repercussions, but here comes Weibei just fucking swinging at these dudes. So that's a very fucking funny thing. I think I'm gonna call that stream Retard Gate and add some kind of subtitle to it too. But yeah, I have a lot of extra time for these streams. Hopefully there's gonna be some extra topics to cover that with those. If not, we're just gonna shoot the shit about interesting drama shit that has been happening in VTubing over the years, and there's a lot of stuff to talk about. Believe me, I'm sitting on gigabytes upon gigabytes of drama from the past that a lot of people have forgotten about. So some really funny stuff in there too. You just need to look. But yeah, I'm gonna end for now because we've been going on long enough. I hope you understand that the person that we covered is only a journalist in name, at least to me, and they're a shitlord. I would use stronger words, but this is YouTube, so I can't. And if I decided to use stronger words, it would be labeled as a hate crime, because that guy is essentially gay. And if I called him an F slur, that would be a hate crime. Even though I mean it in a way of insulting him about being dumb, not his sexuality. But you guys know what I mean. Essentially, I will have fun on YouTube until I get banned, and if I get banned, then whatever. But yeah, you guys take care. Be good. Don't be like Ducky. Stay hydrated so that you don't die, and stay off Twitter because it's retarded. It's retarded, but it's about to be a lot more fun, at least for me. You guys take care of yourself, and I'll play you out with something fun.
We finally made it.
We made